Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
From the place where you're not overly ostentatious studios of the Infinity Sports Network here in beautiful New York City, sitting on top of the 10th floor of 345 Hudson Street. Welcome on in to what is a Friday edition of the Zach Gelb Show across all the great local Infinity Sports Network affiliates, Sirius XM Channel 375, the free Odyssey app, And as always, streaming on YouTube. 888-710-4ISN is the number to jump on in. That's 888-710-4476. You could always get at me on Instagram, where I'm straight flexing, or via the good old cesspool of Twitter, at Zach Gelb. That's ZACHGELB. We got a whole lot to do today. Let's start it off, though, not with the best two words in sports. I would say they're the second best two words in sports, because I do think the best two words in sports are world champions. But then the second best two words in sports would be Game 7. And we now have a Game 7 coming up on Sunday afternoon between the Oklahoma City Thunder, the preeminent team in the NBA this year so far, up against the Denver Nuggets, who on their home court last night, at times, it looked like there would not be a Game 7. But then you had a very big third quarter by the Denver Nuggets where Christian Brown was sensational. He finished the game with 23 points. You also had Julian Strawther, the kid from Gonzaga. He had a very good, unexpected game. He shot 75% from three, and he finished the contest with 15 points as well. And really, you look at Jamal Murray, if this was 3 years ago and Jamal Murray woke up sick, he would not have played. So Jamal Murray, who was battling something last night, an illness last night, the flu, whatever it was, he ended up having 25 points in the contest. And Nikola Jokic had a good game where he was 9 of 14 from the field and finished with 29 points. So enough for the Denver Nuggets to keep their season alive and send this back to Oklahoma City. So you look at this series, it's so intriguing for two reasons. One, and I hate to do this because it goes against what I usually say. I don't usually like to use the MVP race as a debate in the postseason because the MVP is already decided upon, and the MVP is for a regular season award. But with that being said, the two biggest names for the MVP this year, and I do believe that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander will win the award, it's between Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Nikola Jokic. So if Nikola Jokic wins this playoff series, and then it comes out a little bit later on that SGA wins the MVP, it will feel a little fugazi. They'll be like, all right, congratulations, SGA. You won the MVP, but come playoff time, up against who a lot of people believe is the best player in the sport. Not a lot of people. Everyone believes he's the best player in the sport. If you're not at this point, you're just a certified hater. But what does it really mean if you win the MVP, but then you lose the postseason series to Nikola Jokic, where it was a year where Nikola Jokic, he was great, he was sensational, we all know that. And maybe there's a little MVP fatigue with Nikola Jokic, but literally 3 games before the postseason started, the Denver Nuggets said goodbye to their general manager in Calvin Booth and also said goodbye to their head coach in Michael Malone. And let's be real, it's not like this Denver team is deep. They played 8 guys last night. So this is not a deep basketball team where when you look at a team like the Oklahoma City Thunder, they're a lot deeper than the Denver Nuggets. And the Thunder are a better team. But there's no ifs, ands, or buts about this. Going into Game 7 on Sunday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. So get ready to feature your Sunday around probably, hopefully, an exciting end to the PGA Championship, but really a Game 7 between the Denver Nuggets and the Oklahoma City Thunder in Oklahoma. You're going to look at Oklahoma City, and this is a massive moment in their franchise. Because you look at not only what it means for this round, but what lies ahead. If Oklahoma City wins, they go on to face the Minnesota Timberwolves. It's not a lock that they win that series, but they're expected to win that series. And on the other side, you have the Indiana Pacers already through. And in all likelihood, it's not a guarantee, but I still feel confident saying this, I do think the Knicks find a way to get one more victory up against the Boston Celtics without Jason Tatum. And the New York Knicks would then be going to the Eastern Conference Finals. So if you told the Oklahoma City Thunder, a fan of them before the postseason, that you would go to the conference finals and neither Cleveland nor Boston would be there in the East, you wouldn't even probably ask, well, who you're playing in the West? Because you were the number 1 seed in the West. You would feel good about your chances about winning a championship. And this is a Thunder team, and we've seen young teams before, right? Especially in the NBA, I think it gets more documented than ever. It's almost as if you need a few years of pain before you break through. Sure, can you put together a team, and can that team be instantly successful? Yes. But usually it needs to be like full of veterans. You look at the Celtics. I'm pretty sure their first year that Big Three was formed, they won a championship. You even look at the Miami Heat when they put together Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade and LeBron James. They even had some struggles. Now, they made the finals every year, the 4 years that trio was together. But in year one, they made it to the finals and they lost to the Dallas Mavericks in a series where no one was picking the Dallas Mavericks. So for the Oklahoma City Thunder, they have a lot of young players. SGA, one of the top 5 players in the NBA. You know, you got Chet Holmgren, you got the Williams. You also have Isaiah Hartenstein, right? Like, this is a newer team, even though this has been a group now where they've had some additions that they have been together the last few years. But this is an Oklahoma City Thunder team that last year, they were the number 1 overall seed, and this was an Oklahoma City Thunder team that didn't get to where they were supposed to go. So how much have you grown, and are you similar to a team that last year was the number 1 overall seed in the West? Yeah, you quickly disposed of the New Orleans Pelicans. You quickly won your first-round matchup this year. But then in round number 2, you got upset by the Dallas Mavericks. And sure, last year the Mavericks had Luka Doncic and you had Kyrie Irving, and that was the team that was together in Dallas. But this year, you walked into this series, and yes, obviously the best player in the sport, may not be the most valuable player this year, but the best player in the sport was Nikola Jokic. And that's not nothing to sneeze at. That's not going to be an easy victory, but you are clearly the better team. And when you won Game 5 in the fashion you did so in resilient fashion, I'm not slamming you for losing Game 6, but you can't afford to lose Game 7. Because if you lose Game 7, even though you're going to be competitive and you're going to be right in the mix the next few years, and you will still have a chance to win a championship, it will be a missed opportunity and a blown opportunity. With all that being said, though, from a basketball fan standpoint, and I don't have a dog in a fight here. Like, I'm not a Nuggets fan. I'm not an Oklahoma City Thunder fan. I don't love either team. I don't hate either team. Now, I was a big believer in the Denver Nuggets with that duo of Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, and that was going back to the bubble. Is the first time I said, without a doubt, they're going to win an NBA championship one day. And you look at the Oklahoma City Thunder, I think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at a time was one of the most underappreciated players in the league. You know, I know it's easy now for Doc Rivers to say it, but he wasn't thrilled with the thought process at the time when he was with the Clippers of having to trade Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Now, I get why the Clippers did what they did in getting Paul George and pairing him up with Kawhi Leonard, because at the time, the Clippers needed an identity. The Clippers needed new life. The Clippers needed an established star. But what SGA has now done in OKC, being the face of that franchise and being the lead guy, all this pressure goes on them Sunday afternoon at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. Because if the Thunder lose, to me, there are two stories here. So you look at it from both sides. If the Thunder lose, the reaction is they're not ready. This is a young group. They're going through their tough moments. Maybe they could aspire to one day be the Boston Celtics, who overachieved early, then underachieved for a bunch of years, and then punched through to go win an NBA championship. But you would then see teams like Cleveland, teams like the Oklahoma City Thunder go down in the second round, and there's more of a tangible feel, I think, and a legitimate feel that Oklahoma City is closer to winning a championship than Cleveland. But both of those teams have very good players, great players, and they haven't been able to get out of the second round. So that would be the case once again for OKC, where and people usually write negative storyline sell, and we usually, a lot of times, fair or not, lead with the negative, but that would be one of the highlight stories. On the other end, though, and I'll say it, I'm not telling you the Nuggets are going to win. Like, if you put a gun to my head before Game 7 on Sunday and said, Zach, your life is on the line, who's going to win this series? I'm going to take Oklahoma City. But the team that I'm actually rooting for to win here are actually the Denver Nuggets. And it has nothing to do with Jamal Murray. It has nothing to do with Aaron Gordon. It has nothing to do with Christian Brown. It has nothing to do with Michael Porter Jr. or the kid from Gonzaga that came off the bench last night. It has everything to do with Nikola Jokic. Because what we're watching right now is greatness. What we're watching right now is one of the greatest NBA players I've ever seen. And what he does night in and night out, even though it may not be the greatest thing to look at in terms of what you envision a superstar in the year of 2025 in the NBA, it's breathtaking, it's jaw-dropping, and it leaves you speechless. And he slows down the game and makes it look so easy and so effortless. And that's what I love about Nikola Jokic. But think about the resume of the Joker. He's already won 3 NBA MVPs. He's already won an NBA championship. He's already won a finals MVP. And I'm not comparing him necessarily to LeBron, but you look at LeBron James on what he's done now, for 22 years? Yeah, because Doris Burke always says, he's in year 22, LeBron James, right? You always get that from Doris Burke on the broadcast. LeBron in 22 years, and LeBron is considered one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Most people consider him the second greatest player of all time. LeBron, NBA championships 4 NBA Finals MVPs, and only kind of seems like crazy that LeBron hasn't won an NBA MVP since 2013, but that's the fatigue. LeBron has only won 4 NBA MVPs. You look at the Joker right now, who is 30. So Nikola Jokic is 10 years younger than LeBron James, as LeBron James right now is 40 years old. So he already has 3 NBA MVPs. And you look at LeBron, who has been the number 2 when LeBron won championships? Well, in Cleveland, it was Kyrie. In Miami, it was Dwayne Wade. And in Los Angeles, it was Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis, Dwayne Wade, and Kyrie Irving, all better players than the number 2 that Nikola Jokic has. And that's Jamal Murray. And that's nothing against Jamal Murray. It's just a fact. It's not even up for debate. So you look at that and you see Nikola Jokic. What he's already doing is ridiculous. And I would already say, in terms of the all-time career, I would rather have Nikola Jokic over Kevin Durant. But with that being said, Nikola Jokic, he's in a top 20 NBA player, right, of all time. He's one of the best NBA players I've ever seen. But that next championship is going to just skyrocket his career, where he doesn't really need it to be skyrocketed. If he retires tomorrow, as I said, one of the 20 greatest basketball players in the history of the game. But if he wins a second championship in Denver, that's just a ridiculous thing. Especially when you look at his team, he doesn't have a super team. He has a good team, but no one is freaking out and going nuts with the core that they have assembled with the Denver Nuggets. And what would make this even more impressive is he would be doing it right now basically with him being the coach. They got rid of their coach and general manager 3 games before the postseason started. We talked about it when it happened, a month ago? And we said, kind of out on Denver making a championship run now. So they got through the first round. It's one thing to get through the first round. And now you have what is considered the best team in the league on the ropes, and you have them where all the pressure is on them, and you're going to their place. But let's be real. I know your season ends if you lose, but you really have nothing to lose. If the Nuggets lose this game on Sunday afternoon, are we sitting here and we slamming the Denver Nuggets? No. Are we sitting here and are we saying, Nikola Jokic is going to request a trade? No. But if the Thunder lose, we're slamming the Nuggets on Sunday. But the story can be Nikola Jokic, and if the Joker gives you one of these crazy performances, it still may not be good enough to get the victory. We saw him just basically be Superman in Game 5, and it wasn't enough. But that's what the Thunder have done now. They have left it where I wouldn't say this game is a coin flip, but I would say it's like a 55% chance the Thunder win the game. And it is very tough to bet against Nikola Jokic. I do think the Thunder will win. But as a basketball fan that isn't, right, a Nuggets fan, isn't a Thunder fan, I think the history part of this and the storyline, what's a better storyline? SGA going for his first? The Oklahoma City Thunder looking for a championship? Or Nikola Jokic with the lesser team, who's already a 3-time NBA MVP, who's already a finals MVP, and an NBA champion. When you look at the 3-time NBA MVP, the Finals MVP, and the NBA championship that he won, trying to get that second, and then if he does get that second, it puts him in a totally different conversation, moving him up the list where he's already in an elite spot, but it just makes him in an elite fraternity in the annals of NBA history. So on Sunday, I would rather see Nikola Jokic go have an awesome performance, ball out, and win a series that probably they had no business of winning, rather than seeing the Oklahoma City Thunder with the young, fun team. Like, they are a young, fun team, have their moment to propel them into a Western Conference Finals, where they'll be a favorite up against the Minnesota Timberwolves. But the best player remaining in the postseason, and I think the player people still trust the most in this postseason, would then be Anthony Edwards. So I'm looking more forward to, on Sunday, the possibility of the upset with Nikola Jokic and then that would do, and what that would do for his legacy. All right, this is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network, 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Do you want to see something new in the NBA with the Thunder winning it all? Or would you rather see the legacy of Nikola Jokic just continue to write chapter after chapter and continue to move up that all-time list? What say you? Once again, 888-710-4476. We got Game 6 tonight between the New York Knicks and the Boston Celtics. We will talk about that on the other side as we are off and running on a very busy Friday right here on the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
All right, it is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. If you're a Knicks fan, I don't think you get nervous yet. I know it's the playoffs. I understand all the pressure is on you tonight. And this was a series that was 3-1. I was there for Game 4. It was an electric environment. You had a very, just like kind of Game 5, a very back and forth first half. You know, the Celtics were the better team in Game 4 in the first half. Between the Celtics and the Knicks in Game 5, it was very even. But then in the third quarter, the Knicks came alive. The Knicks dominated the third quarter up against the Boston Celtics in Game 4, and they ended up winning the game. In game number 5, the Boston Celtics dominated the third quarter, and the Celtics ended up winning the game. So tonight, I expect it to be another tight game early. I expect it to be a close game early. The Boston Celtics, I do not think are the better team without Jason Tatum. I know some people are trying to make that case. But for the New York Knicks, I don't think it's a crazy formula here, folks. It is obvious how the Knicks end up beating the Celtics. And I know they came back from down 20 points twice in the first 2 games of the series. But you look at it from the 3 games since, games 3, games 4, and games 5, the formula, what happens here is this. The New York Knicks are going to get what they're going to get from Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. Like Jalen Brunson, you know, for the most part, even when he doesn't play well, he's still going to get you 25, 26 points. Can he go well north of that? Can he close in on 40 points? Can he give you 40 points? Absolutely. But even when Jalen Brunson doesn't play at his best, he's still going to be productive. Now, Karl Anthony Towns, he will usually get you a double-double, but there are moments, even in Game 4 when he played well and he came alive, where you're looking at Cat and you're saying, wow, how lethargic can you be? How disinterested can you be when you're on a basketball court? And there are moments like that with Karl Anthony Towns. But for the most part, I feel good that Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns are going to be a positive tonight for the New York Knicks. The 2 players I really have a sharp eye on and a keen eye on, one of OG Anunoby or Mikal Bridges are going to have to get you at least 18 points. And I don't know what's going on with OG Anunoby. There are times where he's great defensively and gives you nothing on the offensive end. OG did tweak his hamstring in Game 4. Last year, I was there up against the Pacers where he had a huge hamstring injury in game number 2, and he ran right past me screaming, oh, bleep, oh, bleep, oh, bleep, oh, bleep. And then people were debating, oh, is he going to come back this series? And I go, even if he does, I don't think he's going to give you much. But in game 4, he tweaked it. He came back. He was good. But in game 5, he gave you nothing on the offensive end. Mikal Bridges in game 5 really gave you nothing on the offensive end. And it was reminiscent of game 3 where I don't remember what they combined for in game 5, but in game 3, Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby combined for 14 points. 14 points. With how much you're paying OG Anunoby, with the picks that you gave up for Mikal Bridges, and Mikal Bridges had his moments this postseason, and so is OG Anunoby, in a closeout spot tonight, those guys can't be no-shows. And I'm not saying both of them need to go score 18-plus points, just one of them. And if Jalen Brunson gives you his 27, 28 points, and maybe it's more of that, but just using that as the minimum, and Karl Anthony Towns gives you about 20 and like 13 or whatever it is, and one of OG Anunoby or Mikal Bridges give you at least 18 plus, I'd be surprised if the Knicks don't win tonight. Like Boston, it was the heart of the champion in game 5. Boston in game 5, you had a very good performance by Jaylen Brown, even though he's trying to grab the junk of some other guys in the other team. But him as a player had a really good game 5. You had some other guys step up that were unexpected. But ultimately, this is a game where if the New York Knicks lose this tonight, I'm not saying that they can't win game 7. But man, I would not want this to go back to Boston. I would not feel good about that going back to Boston because look how quickly it could change just when you have home advantage. And I know we all try to kind of take away the home court advantage in the playoffs with what the records have been and all that. But that was a Knicks-Celtics game in game 5 where it looked like it was going to be a dogfight. It looked like it was going to be a slugfest. It looked like it was going right down to the wire. And in that third quarter, it got away from the Knicks rather quickly. And the Knicks were in the bonus with 9 minutes left in the third quarter or something like that. And that Boston crowd got going. And once that crowd got going, it was kind of the Knicks just said, and it's disappointing that the Knicks approach it this way, but the Knicks just said, you know what, we'll pack it in. We'll mail it in. We'll go back to our place at Madison Square Garden for what is a game number 6 tonight. Now, the ticket prices for tonight, let's see what it is to get in. I am not going tonight. But the ticket prices to get in, if you just wanted one ticket, if you just needed one ticket, you didn't care where you were. Actually, let me just do this on my phone. Because on my phone, I have the fees and everything included. When they give you just a number and then they say, oh, fees processing, that doesn't help. Well, wow. It's actually down tonight. One ticket down tonight. And you get multiple seats in this section. Section 415, row 3. So it's behind the basket in the upper deck. Costs you $5.30 a ticket. And that's actually down from where it was about like $640, $650. So over $100 down to get into the building. Just be in the building and be sitting all the way at the tippy top of an 18,000 person building in Madison Square Garden. You could get in for what isn't a very low price, but $558 tonight. Or $530, actually. $530, excuse me, is what the lowest price is right now for 415 row 3. I saw something. So the Panthers are looking to advance tonight, and the Florida Panthers are looking to put the Toronto Maple Leafs down into a casket, which, geez, that series was 2-0. Oh, you didn't like the way that I said that? Put them into a casket?
Nah, just poor Leafs fans.
Yeah, they're up 2-0 in this series. They're up 2-0 in this series. They're now down 3-2. It's one thing, right, in a hockey series. You win the first 2 on your home ice, then you go to the road in Florida, you lose 2. Game number 3, I understand it's on a lock that you're going to win, but at one point that was 6-0. 6-0. So the cheapest ticket tonight for Panthers and Leafs, what do you think it is? And this is in Florida tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern time puck drop. What do you think the cheapest ticket is to get into a Florida Panthers hockey game for the defending Stanley Cup champions?
I'll say 300.
Samter?
I'm going to go 180.
See, this just shows you how New York we are in the prices. 120. 120 is the cheapest ticket to get in tonight in Florida. Now, I'll take this even one step further. Let's go Oklahoma City, Game 7. All right, before I even look at it, what do you think the cheapest ticket is? Oklahoma City, Sunday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time, Game 7. Now, Florida, right? I like, you don't think of the Florida Panthers fan as the most rabid fan in the world, the most craziest fan in the world. With that being said, though, they do have a good fan base. They're on the Rats and all that stuff. They just won a Stanley Cup. But I'm not surprised it only costs you like, what I said, $1.20 to get into the building. Tonight for the Knicks, it's going to cost you $5.30 is the cheapest ticket right now that you can get on SeatGeek. Maybe that will get dip into the $4s potentially if you wait, and have that patience all the way up until 8 p.m. Eastern time. Before I even look, let's just do this blind. What do you think Oklahoma City, Game 7, worst seat in the house, cheapest ticket on the secondary market is, Stu? What would be your guess?
$230.
$230. Samter.
Game 7, I'm going to go $350.
I'm going to go Price is Right here. So you said $230 and $250 were your two guesses?
Yes.
Now, what happens on Price is Right if I guess and we're all over? Is it just who was the lowest on the over?
No, then they just,
Then it just goes, and they ask you a new question? Okay. I feel like it's in the 2s, but I feel like it's in the low 2s. So I want to be safe here. I don't think it's $230 or $250. I'll say $1.70. $1.70.
See, if you're going Price is Right, you go $1.
Yeah, but that's okay. Fine, $1. I'll go $1 here. Here we go. Cheapest ticket. Game 7. This is 2:30 Central. $193. And that's today. That's today to get into the get into the building for Sunday. So you would imagine that's going to even go down even more. So I would have won there. That's wild. You know what? Let's just do this for a comparison. Regular season baseball game in the Bronx tonight. Now, it's Mets-Yankees at Subway Series. Oh, my God. The worst seat in the house, 4OCB Row 12. That's in the outfield, in the upper deck at Yankee Stadium. $162. So basically, you could pay the same price for a Game 7 worst seat in the house for Thunder Nuggets. Right? With one of the greatest players ever, Nikola Jokic, and a young star in this league who's a top 5 player right now, who's probably the MVP this year, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Same price as basically tonight in New York to go see a regular season baseball game. Juan Soto, Francisco Lindor up against Aaron Judge and the New York Yankees. Mets-Yankees.
I think it's time for us to move.
Yeah. If I can make my salary now in like Oklahoma City, I would love it. It would be awesome. I could actually enjoy the money that goes into my bank account. All right, it is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Knicks Celtics predictions tonight. Stu, who do you think wins?
I think the Knicks get it done.
Samter, you going Knicks or Celtics?
Celtics all the way.
Oh, boy. So now I have to break the tie here.
Yeah, the Celtics are better without Tatum. They're tougher.
Oh, stop. That's a dumb argument. Emmanuel Acho, Samter. Didn't Emmanuel Acho make that argument?
He did. He said
and
that they're
KD
tougher.
was all annoyed?
Yes.
Oh, stop it, baloney. I'll say the Knicks win tonight. I'm going to say the Knicks win tonight 103-94. 103-94. The New York Knicks win tonight, and they advance to the conference finals up against the Indiana Pacers. Now, real quickly, before we get to AC, I was actually looking at the conference finals. I'm contemplating actually going to Indianapolis for the conference finals if the Knicks are there. So this is like the ultimate touch the money spot. But that series, it starts on, I'm at Ian Begley's page. There we go. Yep. Wednesday would be game 1 here in New York, Wednesday, Friday. Then on Memorial Day weekend, it's Sunday, Tuesday. I have an event that I have to go to Saturday, so I don't know if I'm going to Indianapolis Sunday, Tuesday. I did look for game 6, though. 6 in Indiana, 5:31. I have a $250 flight credit. There are flights under $250. So maybe I was thinking I'll get a press pass, go watch Knicks Pacers if that is the Eastern Conference Finals, and I'll spend less than 24 hours in Indianapolis, where I would go, fly in Saturday morning, and then fly back Sunday morning, and probably be in and out there in less than 24 hours. Maybe I have to sneak on over to St. Elmo's.
I heard In-N-Out. That's all I was thinking of.
They have In-N-Out in Indianapolis?
No, but you said In-N-Out, so I was thinking of the burger.
Double animal style is what Sampton was saying.
Yes.
Oh man, now I'm kind of craving Shake Shack because it's in the proximity of our studios. You think I could get? Do we have anyone here in the studios today? Just wondering. Like, is there?
I don't think anyone's working today.
No one's working
like.
tape. Jeez. I was going to say, I was going to give him $20 to go to my apartment. I got to the studio today. I was doing laundry, and I forgot that I left my laundry in the dryer. So I was going to say, I'll go have them go to my apartment and get the laundry out. That's what I was thinking.
Can you explain to people what exactly was in the dryer that you left?
Yeah. It's so stupid. My cleaning lady, she came over and cleaned the apartment, and I have a mop. And you have to unscrew the mop head, and there's a towel. And today I had some errands to do, so I put in the washer, came back, then showered, put in the dryer, and I was like, oh, I'll take the mop and the cloth out of the dryer. And I started to get a little frazzled a little bit because I'm trying to get to work, and I don't live here far, but it starts downpouring in the city. And I'm going to my parents' house this weekend, so I have my golf clubs, I have, a weekend bag and my work bag. So I'm carrying all this stuff. I'm like, I don't want to take the subway and walk in the rain and just get drenched because I wouldn't even have a hand to hold up an umbrella. And then I go to my Uber. I live 8 minutes. I'm an 8-minute drive here. They wanted $40 on Uber to get here. So I said, I'm not doing that. I'm going to be a real New Yorker. I'm going to hail a cab and pay $15. And I get to the studio here, and we're sitting right in front of the show. It's $2.50. And I just said to Stu, oh, truck. That's what I said to Stu. And I forgot the mop and the cloth in the dryer. Now, it's a communal washer dryer in my apartment. Someone will probably take that out and put it on the counter. And I'm coming back this weekend, so I could grab it then. But I have a 6:40 train that I need to make. 6:40 train at Penn Station. Now, I could get to my apartment via subway in 5 minutes. And then it's about 18 minutes if I hit the right express. Actually, 13 minutes if I hit the express. 18 minutes, though, from my apartment to Penn Station. So now I'm going to have to schlep all my bags back to my apartment. And I'm going to have to then go get the mop head and the cloth out of the dryer, put it back into my apartment, and then go get the train, which is a block away from my apartment. So I think I'm going to do the Sampter Dash right after the show. I'm going to say goodbye to you guys and get right to my apartment and then try to make it right up to Penn Station. All righty. Anyway, it is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. But, I don't know what. My brain's been just off this week. I've just been I don't know what's going on, but I've just been very, very sloppy.
Still recovering from Vegas?
No, I don't even think it's that. Maybe it was a luxury box for the Knicks game. Too many whiskey gingers and stuff. I'm telling you, I'm getting old, folks. I drink one night out of the week, and I'm like dunzo. I'm dunzo for the rest of the week. It's crazy.
Welcome to hell.
Or maybe I'm just stupid. That's probably what it is. All righty, let's get to a man who isn't stupid. He's standing by with the latest sports flash. That, of course, is the erudite, Rich Ackerman.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
Well, somebody takes his clothes out of the dryer. The Knicks-Celtics series has lived up to whatever, same thing. Has lived up to the intensity that was expected. Game 6 tonight in New York, with the Knicks getting a chance to wrap things up on their home floor after failing to do so in Boston. The defending champs came out with a spirited effort with their star Jason Tatum done for the series, while the Knicks had the opposite. It was a familiar refrain for New York. Jalen Brunson said the loss stressed the importance of everyone staying on the same page.
It's just paying attention to details when it comes to preparing for games, making sure our minds are, our heads are right, and we're locked in on a similar goal. And that's what we need in order to beat a team like this. It's a very good team, regardless of who's out there.
The Pacers are waiting on the winner. One game in the Stanley Cup playoffs. The Panthers host the Maple Leafs with a chance to close out that second round series. Second round of the PGA Championship, Jonathan Vegas with the double bogey on 18. That leaves him in the lead, but at 8 under par, 2 shots better than Matthew Pavone and Alex Smalley. Scotty Scheffler 1 under through 6 so far today, leaving him within striking distance at 3 under par. At Wrigley, Pete Crow Armstrong a 3-run homer, and the Cubs have a 6-3 lead over the White Sox, bottom 4. I'm Rich Ackerman.
The Infinity Sports Network is on your smart speaker. All you have to say is, play Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
It's time to ask the pros, where you, the listener, gets to ask us a question. Brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Simply tweet your question at INF Sportsnet or at Zach Gelb using the hashtag #AskThePros. Be listening later in the show. We might answer your question. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Dave Portnoy, like a month ago, was looking for recommendations for pizza spots. He goes, in New York, doing pizza reviews, does anyone have a spot that we haven't done yet? So I recently had this new pizza spot. I think it's pronounced Ceres. It's spelled Ceres. And it's good pizza. It's really good pizza. It's up there, John's on Bleecker Street. It's up there with La Industrie. I still think that bacon fig jam slice from La Industrie is the best slice that I've had recently. My favorite pizza ever is probably New Haven. Like, if you're ever in New Haven, Connecticut, you could do a little pizza tour. Oh, chef's kiss. Like, phenomenal. But, so Portnoy, this is on April 24th, he said, I'm doing a day of pizza in New York and New Jersey area next week. Are there any must hits that I haven't done and you need to try? So I put these two photos of this place called Ceres, which my friend, his friend is one of the owners of it. And it's two guys that own the whole place, and they make all the pizzas together. They're like young guys. And I said, my favorite in New York City is La Industrie, but you've already done it. New spot Ceres is good. Feel like it's your kind of pizza on the first pie, and it's at 164 Mott Street. So, like, when I went there a few weeks ago, or like a month ago, it was about a 30-minute wait. Like, you walked in, you placed the pizza, you got a number, and they brought the pizza to the table. And we got it was a plain pie, it's three of us, and the plain pie was like 40-something bucks. And then there was a $65 pie, and it had sausage on it, and I guess the sausage is imported from someplace I don't know. So that's what makes it a $65 pie. Like, no pizza pie should be $65, but that's what it was. It was good pizza. So Portnoy did a review there the other day, and I guess he loved the tomato pie, which I didn't have when I was there. Quite like, if I go back, my friend was like, "Oh, we got to order pies." You could order slices. Now, I'm sure you're not going to be able to order slices anymore after Portnoy goes there. It's probably going to be pies only. But I wish that I ordered slices there. But Portnoy gave the pizza a 9.2. Like, I can't remember the last time Dave Portnoy gave a pizza score in the 9s, or even the high 8s if we're being serious. High 8s, I've seen some of the reviews. So Portnoy gives this place a 9.2. They were sold out yesterday. Like, when I went over a month ago, I waited 30 minutes, and they only have a certain amount of dough each and every day. And I left the show at 6. I didn't meet my friends at 7:30. And they said, we just got to get in there before 8 and we'll be fine. They were sold out yesterday. They had to take a pizza box, right, sold out, and like hang it from the store. They were sold out by 2:30 p.m. Eastern time yesterday. So this place is, like, it was already really damn good. This place is just going to go off the charts now. This is going to be one of the toughest pizza slices or pizza pies to get in the city. Like, La Industrie takes forever. Whenever I get La Industrie for the staff here, I order it the night before or the morning of, and I'm able to order ahead and do a little pick up the pies at like 2 o'clock or something. And that's right around here. So John's on Bleecker, Ceres, La Industrie, and then the pepperoni slice from Prince Street Pizza is damn good. But you know what we got to do as a show? We got to go to Danny and Coop's. That's the Bradley Cooper cheesesteak spot here in the city, where it's Angelo's from Philadelphia. The owner of Angelo's just teamed up with Bradley Cooper, and they made Danny and Coop's here in New York City, which Angelo's right now is considered to be the preeminent cheesesteak in Philadelphia. So we got to have Danny and Coop's, because that I keep on seeing now all on my TikTok. Well, I'm not even on TikTok. My Reels, all I see now is Ceres Pizza and then also Danny and Coop's. And it's Bradley Cooper's cheesesteak spot and then Ceres Pizza. These two two guys, they're going to be filthy rich now. Portnoy goes there and gives you a 9-2 and says it's one of the best pies he's ever had. Oh, my goodness gracious. These guys are going to be rolling in dough. Pizza dough and money. They're going to be rolling in dough at Ceres. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Because I have friends, they're brothers. They're like very good friends of mine. And they like slobber over this pizza. I'm like, are you guys like basic? Like if I took blood out of you, would it just be Ceres Pizza? Because they have had this pizza. It's only been open, I think, for a few months. I see them at least there once a week posting on Instagram. Now, they were loyal from the beginning. You know, they should be able to get us to the front of the line. You know, if we wanted to taste the pizza on the air, you know, should be able to get us to the front of the line. We'll pay for the pies. Don't get me wrong, but I wonder if we could send someone there and get a pie. Oh, they'd be closed before the show even starts. We start at 3 p.m. Eastern time.
Have to send them like early afternoon and hope they get like one of the last ones and then they're back in time for the show.
Hey, EJ, you're back from Cabo. You done with the morning show? All right, we'll pay you. Go to Ceres, bring us the pie so we can have something at 2 o'clock when we all walk into the building. I just saw this from Andrew Filipponi via Mark Cabali, who covers the Pittsburgh Steelers for a long time. He now covers them for the Pat McAfee show. Cabali said this, quote, I believe Aaron Rodgers will be a Steeler by the end of the month, in close quotes. It's May 16th. We are approaching the end of the month. Memorial Day is next weekend. By the way, are you guys, Stu, you're off on Friday, right, next week?
Yes, Friday and Monday.
And Santa, are you here 5 days a week next week's Mike? Are you here 5 days a week next week?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You look very confused. I would hope that you know your schedule. And I'm here 5 days a week next week. We're all off on that Monday, right? You guys all talk off on Monday? Right? Okay, cool. Do you guys do anything Memorial Day? Obviously, an important day to remember people that paid the ultimate sacrifice, but what do you end up doing on Memorial Day?
The pool in my apartment opens that weekend, so that's a big pool weekend.
Stew by the pool. Got a few adult beverages and a few of your special stuff right by the pool. Is that what you're going to do though? You have a barbecue in your apartment complex?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you grilling?
Yes.
Do you grill?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I will.
So what? Yeah, just burger and dogs.
Probably burgers and hot
chicken
dogs.
Steak.
I don't usually do the steaks on the grill, but maybe something I'll try down the road.
When do you grill all year round, Santa? Because I know you were very big into the grill when you moved to your house in Connecticut, but I haven't heard about the grill since you first moved there.
Oh, I love to grill still. And now that it's getting nice again, the weather's been so crappy, whether it was cold or now that it's just raining so much every single day. It's been hard to grill, but I've got a bunch of meats in the fridge and the freezer ready to go.
Like, are you guys both actually good on the grill? You're like guys that just say, yeah, I'm great on the grill, and then you actually get to the grill.
I would say great. I throw stuff on the grill. That's all.
Okay, so you're like a 6 out of 10.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
You've tasted some of my stuff. I'll let you be the judge.
I don't think I've ever tasted any of your stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've seen the wings.
I've seen it. Yeah.
No, all right.
I don't know how much your wife's doing that. I don't know if you delivering it and bringing it in, you're pretending to be some big chef. I don't know. I feel like grilling for you is a big like rite of passage for Michael Samter.
It's important.
Yeah. Oh, just saying. I don't know. I'll trust what Samter would bring in, but I think you should maybe do a little grill day here on the show. Make us some stuff. Get some like kebabs and some steak, some pineapple with chicken or something like that. All right, this is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Alrighty, hour number 2 of our radio program. It is the Zach Gelb Show, coast to coast on the Infinity Sports Network. If you were listening about the pizza place that I was just talking about, Sari's here in the city, that Dave Portnoy went to, that gave a 9.2. I have had it before. I have pictures of it before. I just retweeted it on my Twitter page, at Zach Gelb, ZACHGELB, where Psych Manter says, that does look freaking good. So not only is it Zach Gelb approved, more importantly, it's Psych Manter approved. We kind of live right now at the social media presence of Psych Manter, if we're being honest. And no, that isn't Samter on social media. There is some guy who has created a Twitter account, Moist Mike, and he calls himself Psych Manter. And every tweet that he sends out about the show is spot on. I'm surprised, actually, that Psych Manther, who's made us as Muppets, which I think he's done a great job. I was at a Met game with Carlos with a K. He made us Muppets within 45 seconds of me sending a tweet out. I am surprised that he has not yet put us as, you see the baby trend that's going on? Where it's a photo of you and they make you look like a baby. I saw Maggie and Perloff do that today. Where Maggie and Perloff look like fine babies. EJ looked like a fine baby. You know who looked like a hideous baby? Manny.
No. Was he sleeping?
No.
little passy in his mouth?
He wasn't sleeping, but it would be appropriate if he was sleeping because babies do sleep a lot. I will text you guys this right now. Maggie was actually, I heard she was very upset because Perloff she thought looked like a cuter baby than her. But I will send this to you right now. Let me pull it up here. Stu, Kovacs, and Samter. So let me put the link right here, and we will evaluate the babies of the morning show. Imagine if someone just heard that, like, oh, the babies of the morning show. They had no clue what we were talking about. Like, Bogusch looks like a cute baby. EJ looks like a cute baby. Oh, EJ looks adorable as a baby in this trend. Maggie and Perloff actually look so similar as babies. They actually look like they could be twins. It's kind of nuts.
They definitely do.
And Manny looks hideous as a baby. Because he has a mustache. Like a baby with the mustache just doesn't make any sense. You know what Manny looks like right here? He looks like he's wearing a Knicks jersey. He looks like a Knicks fan if they would lose tonight in Game 6 and also was constipated. He looks like he's holding in a number 2 and just can't let it out. You guys see this stuff right now?
I do, yes.
Would you agree that Manny does not look good as a baby here?
He does not look good as a baby, and he looks probably, I would say, the worst of the 5 by a good amount.
I disagree. This is the cutest baby I've ever seen in my entire life. He is adorable. He's angry. He's confused.
Wait. The cutest baby you've ever seen in your entire life? You do have a daughter.
Outside of Alexandria. Cutest male baby I've ever seen. I'll
no wonder why when I FaceTime with Samter's kid when we're on the road together, she's always like, Uncle Zach. She's excited to see me. You don't even say your own kid's the cutest baby you've ever seen. Oh, my goodness gracious.
I mean, you've seen Alexandra. She's far...
She's adorable.
Yeah, by definition, she's the cutest thing that's ever existed on this planet. Yeah, so I don't need to qualify that. This is, human baby.
So I can't say that because I have a niece, and I don't want to cause any problems as I'm going home this weekend, but your daughter is very, very adorable. She must have mom's genes, if I'm just being honest. Do you get that a lot?
Yeah.
Well, see, that I think is a little disrespectful, if I'm being honest, even though I just said it. Ross Tucker used to always say, though, Ross Tucker once did a radio interview with me on the night of his anniversary. It was one of his anniversaries. He did a radio interview, and he goes, Zach, you know how much I love you? That's how he started. He goes, I'm doing an interview with you on my anniversary. I go, is the relationship okay? But then I said to Ross, I go, oh, you probably outkicked your coverage. And he goes, no, I kicked my coverage appropriately. I went to Princeton and I'm a football player. So Ross isn't wrong. I feel like whenever you have a cute kid, the dad always takes a bullet in terms of, oh yeah, it must be the mom's genes. And then also if you ever have like a really smoking hot wife, it's always, oh, you outkicked your coverage and things along those lines. Anyway, it is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. But yeah, Manny in this photo looks like an ugly baby, if we're just being true. Have you ever seen a baby and the baby has not been a good-looking baby and you've had to pretend, oh, it's so cute, it's unbelievable, oh, so adorable? Has that ever happened to you before, Santa?
So I take my daughter to all these different classes throughout the week, and there are some really cute babies in this class, and then there are some really not that cute babies in this class whose heads are too big for their bodies, or their eyes are like half closed, or they're drooling and snot coming out. It's just weird little looking kids, and I don't want to say anything because I don't want to be mean, but
you don't want to be that guy.
I don't want to be that guy, but yeah, there's definitely some not that cute babies out there.
So I will say, this is AI, obviously, what is going on with Maggie and Perloff and this big trend. I do wonder what we all look like though as actual babies, like not via AI, just the legitimate baby photos. Do you have a baby photo of yourself, Samter? Black and white, right?
I mean, not readily handy.
Polaroid.
Yeah. Sure. Definitely have some Polaroids available somewhere.
Stu, do you have a baby photo of you on hand?
I'd have to look through all my photos. I probably do somewhere. It's just a matter if I can find it.
Yeah, I wonder what we all look like as babies. Maybe we'll try to find something and put it together next week. But yeah, there was one time, I'm not going to say how many years ago because I don't want if that person's listening to get offended, but I was shown a picture of that person's baby. And to be clear, this is not a close friend. So if you're a close friend of mine and you're listening, it's not revolving you. It was, I don't want to even say a family friend, but someone I know through my family. And I saw a picture of their baby, and my mom goes, "Oh, isn't that an adorable baby?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's so beautiful." And then I got home and I said, "Mom, that was one ugly baby." So, and it does happen. You just got to lie and you got to do the high-pitched voice.
It's like the Seinfeld episode.
But it's the one time where you could use the high-pitched voice and it not feel like you're lying. Like there's times where you're talking and you're lying and your voice naturally gets high. But whenever you just hear the word baby, the voice always just goes naturally high. So you could get away with the lying voice there. Anyway, let's get to a little onside offside. It is the Zach Gelb Show right here on the Infinity Sports Network.
Zach's taking on the most polarizing issues in sports. Which side of the line of scrimmage will he end up on?
Offside. Defense number 69.
It's Onsides, Offsides with Zach Gelb.
All righty, Stewie, what do we got cooking today?
All right, so
Stewie. I don't think I've ever called you Stewie before.
That's an Ack. Ack calls me Stewie a lot.
Really?
He does.
Well, maybe I heard it around the newsroom.
Maybe.
Hey, Stewie, how you doing, Chief?
That's about right.
Yeah, you nailed it. So one
I'm not
nugget.
getting into the studio for the update. Too cold in there.
so
Tyson breaking at 37 past the hour. Come on. All right, I'll stop being a jackass. Go ahead.
So one nugget that we learned from the NFL schedule release is that the Chiefs, they tied the record for the most primetime games ever with 7 this season. Now 5 of those games will happen in the first 8 weeks of the season, and those 7 games don't even include their Thanksgiving matchup against the Cowboys. Onsides, offsides, you're less likely to watch these primetime games because you have Chiefs fatigue.
Offside? Like, is this a serious question here? We are all addicted to football. It doesn't matter if it's the best team in the league or the worst team in the league. You put them on. Also, you put them on in spots where sometimes you're with family as well and you're just jonesing to get away from your family or sit down and just eat a big plate of food away from the dinner table. Hello. I don't care who's playing. We are addicted to football. There is not a football, even the weeks where you go, oh, it's not that entertaining, the football slate, it always ends up being the most entertaining weekend. So I'm less likely to watch these primetime games because you have Chiefs fatigue. Absolutely not. Offside.
Offside.
All right, so yesterday, an ESPN panel, including Dan Orlovsky and Louis Riddick, looked over Pittsburgh's early schedule, and they didn't sound too confident.
Those first 4 games before they get to the bye, every one of those teams has a quarterback situation that you would take over Pittsburgh's. Every single one.
I mean, I think you could say that about...
Well, that's my point. See, that's what, to me, throws everything up in the air for this football team.
I think you're staring at 0-6 in the face.
All right, so the Steelers' first 6 games are the Jets...
Hold on. So, can you read the question here first before you give me the opponents?
All right, so the question is, onside, offsides, even with Rodgers, the Steelers will win no more than 2 of their first 6 games.
All right, 2 of the first 6 games. Now, give me the games.
All right, so they start with the Jets.
And that, do we know where these games are? I have the schedule here. Hold on. All right, go ahead. So they're at the Jets.
Then we have the Seahawks week 2.
Mm-hmm.
Patriots, Vikings, Browns, Bengals.
Okay. So they're at the Jets to open up the season. Our buddy Jake Asman is listening right now. Oh, he's going to clip this. Oh, Gelb's picking against the Jets. Oh, I'll take the Steelers up against the Jets. With Rodgers? This is with Rodgers, right, is the question? So I'll take the Steelers to beat the Jets 20-17. I then will take the Steelers to lose to Seattle. I then will take them to beat the Patriots. I will then take them to lose to Minnesota. They'll beat Cleveland. They'll lose to Cincinnati. I'm looking at 3-3 right there. And even if I'm And I could be wrong on one of those in terms of where they get an extra victory. So the question here is, even with Rodgers Fields win no more than 2 of those games, that would be an offside.
Offside.
They could be 0-6. I love Orlovsky. Some say I put Orlovsky on the map. 0-6? 0-6? How? Jets, Seahawks. They can win both those. They can lose both of them. Patriots, it's a toss-up. New England always beats the Steelers, though. Minnesota, you probably lose. Cleveland, you probably beat. And the Bengals, you probably lose, but it's a divisional game. Still early in the season. It's week 7 at that point. So, yeah. Is that like a trick question here? Do you think I'm crazy here for saying that they'll win at least 2 games?
I don't, because if you look at some team schedules, I mean, that opening 6, it's not easy by any stretch, but I don't think it's impossible now.
The toughest team is Minnesota.
When I was looking through that and I heard him say 0-6, I'm like, that's one of the easier schedules you're going to see to start an NFL season.
Like, I thought you would have Buffalo, Baltimore. Like, at the end of the season, they play Buffalo, Baltimore, Miami, and Detroit. Like, if you had 3 or 4 of those opponents early on, okay, maybe 0-6, but with those opponents, it's not like there's any team on that schedule that they can't beat in the first 6 games. I'm not saying they're going to win all of them, but there's not a team that you say, they can't beat. All right, next question.
All right, after the Celtics beat the Knicks in Game 5 without Jason Tatum, former NFL player and current FS1 analyst Emmanuel Acho made a questionable claim.
I want to go as far as to say the Boston Celtics match up better versus the New York Knicks without Jason Tatum than they do with Jason Tatum. Not because of talent.
Break that down.
Not because of talent. Exclusively because of mindset. I believe that a team is a reflection of its leader. Jason Tatum is the leader of the Boston Celtics. They are an incredible team, an incredibly talented team, but they are not as tough a team. Jaylen Brown, I don't think, is a better player than Jason Tatum, but I do believe Jaylen Brown is a more physical player than Jason Tatum. And the difference between the Celtics and the Knicks at this point in time, the delta between the Celtics and the Knicks isn't talent, it's toughness.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant responded pretty quickly and trashed Acho, saying, quote, "Hot take artists have ruined the sport. Football guys, no disrespect, but y'all boys need to stay in your lanes." End of quote.
Yeah, because every NBA player that gives a take, let me tell you, it's the most wonderful thing about the sport as well.
And now ESPN is reportedly considering adding Stephen A. Smith to its NFL coverage. So onsides, offsides, former athletes should stick to analyzing their respective sports.
If you are a former athlete and you're on a show, you have to give opinions, unless if it's only a football show. Like if we, let's say we had Tiki Barber sitting to the right of me. Yeah, most of the stuff we talk is football, but baseball, I need your opinion. Basketball, I need your opinion. NASCAR, I need your opinion. Soccer, I need your opinion. So you're allowed to give your opinion. And this idea that if you just didn't play the sport, you can't comment on it, that's ridiculous. So former athletes should stick to analyzing their respective sports. I would go offside. By the way, Psych Mamter has already done the baby photos of us. Stu looks like he needs a nap. Samter looks like he's a lawyer that's a baby. And I don't really love my photo, if I'm being honest. I don't see the resemblance for me. But anyway, offside.
Offside.
So the Warriors were sent packing after Steph Curry's injury, and yesterday the players spoke to the media for the final time this season. Jimmy Butler says that he loves playing Robin to Steph's Batman, while both Steph and Draymond acknowledged restricted free agent Jonathan Kuminga might not be back. Onsides, offsides, the Warriors' championship window is closed.
I think so. I think the aura of playoff Jimmy is gone. Steph's had some injuries, even though I still believe in Steph. Draymond, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. And Steve Kerr doesn't trust Jonathan Kuminga right now. So right now, with the way that this team is currently constructed, I do feel like their championship window is closed. I will go onsides.
Johni Broome was one of the best players in the country this past season, leading Auburn to the Final Four. Broome is considered a late first, early second round draft pick, but is getting panned for some of his laughable verticals at the combine as he jumped just 24.5 inches, which was 14 inches less than top jumping VJ Edgecombe. Onsides, offsides, NBA combine measurables are even less important than the NFL combines.
I'm going to be honest, I don't even know what the NBA measurables are at the combine. So yes, I'm going to say onsides on that. I don't think Johni Broome's going to be a great pro, to be fair. I think he's just a great college player, but I don't give a rat's ass about these NBA combine measurables. So, let's be real. After the first 3 picks, no one even knows who gets drafted anyway anymore. Even if you're lucky, last year that kid Zachary Sachet got drafted. Everyone's like, who? He was sitting right in front of me at the draft. The NBA, they do a program where they wanted me at the draft, and I was sitting right behind him. And then he was the number 1 pick, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even know the number 1 pick was sitting right in front of me. Now, this year will be different because you got Cooper Flagg, and everyone knows who he is. But, yeah, I don't give a rat's ass about the NBA Combine measurables.
So the Rockets, they finished second in the West this season, but fell in the first round to the Warriors. Houston is considered one of the favorites to land Giannis this offseason, and NBC Sports says that they would not only include former third overall pick Jabari Smith Jr., but also the 22-year-old All-Star Alfred Sengun in a potential deal. Onside offsides, the Rockets are better off building around their young core of stars rather than blowing it up for Giannis.
Offside, I don't think you need to blow it up completely. You have to give back some talent pieces, obviously, to get Giannis onto the Kumpo, but I'd rather have Giannis with some of those pieces than all those current pieces. There's a chance they could just be the Cavs. Now, maybe the Thunder go on and win a championship this year, but you get Giannis onto the Kumpo still in his prime, I would do that in an absolute second. So the Rockets are better off building around their young core stars than blowing it up for Giannis onto the Kumpo. I would go offside.
Offside.
The Capitals were bounced from the playoffs last night, falling to the Hurricanes in 5 games.
Hate to see it.
Now, after the game, head coach Spencer Carberry was asked whether the 39-year-old Alex Ovechkin, the new NHL all-time goal leader, would be back next season.
My understanding is he's under contract, so he'll be back next year.
So onsides, offsides, now that he has the goal record, Alexander Ovechkin should retire.
Offside. If, what he did this year, and he missed about a month with an injury, he could still produce at a very high level. I don't think we need to see him retire yet. I think he'll go on one of those Jaromir Jagr type of runs with Alexander Ovechkin, except he just plays for one team. He doesn't go around with 4,000 teams that Jaromir Jagr did play for. So now that he has a goal record, Ovi should retire. No, I think he should play next year, so offside.
Offside!
Lincoln Riley has produced 3 Heisman-winning quarterbacks.
Stinkin' Lincoln.
All of whom became number 1 overall picks. However, the Trojans have struggled the past few years, and USA Today reports that Riley earned $10.2 million in 2023, which would make him the 4th highest paid head coach in college football. Onside, offsides, Riley is still a top 10 coach in college football.
He had the Heisman Trophy winner, and he couldn't even get to his conference championship game in that final season. And then the year prior to that, they got to the Pac-12 championship game and they lost. So, they weren't even all that competitive in that last year with Caleb Williams, if I'm being honest. Right? Because he won the Heisman and then came back for another season. Right? I'm pretty sure with Caleb Williams. So it went downhill. I think I used to say he was overrated when he was getting to playoffs, right, with Oklahoma. And consistently winning the Big 12, I said he's a very good coach. I wouldn't call him a great coach because he's never won a playoff game. And now he can't even get close to sniffing the playoff in a 12-team format. So I would say offside there. Riley's still a top 10 coach in college football. He's good. I'm not saying he's terrible, but I can't say he is top 10 right now. I think there's better coaches than him. For as critical as I am as James Franklin right now. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm about to say this. I would rather have James Franklin as my coach tomorrow than stinking Lincoln and Lincoln Riley. So Riley's still a top 10 coach in college football. I would go offside.
Offside.
All right, last one. Tonight, your Mets, they take the subway up to the Bronx to face my Yankees in Juan Soto's first game back at Yankee Stadium since he moved across town to Queens.
I'm surprised you, being a Yankee fan, even asked me about this because all these Yankee fans pretend like they don't even care about it when down deep they do. Yeah.
So yesterday, Soto told the New York Post, quote, "It's going to be 50,000 against 1.
Well, that won't be true. There's going to be a lot of Mets
fans. It's going to be like half Mets fans.
Also, if you're a Knicks fan, how do you go to this game tonight? Met Yankee, I get it, right? I wouldn't go to the game. That's just me. But.
He continued, said, "They're going to get on me. Whatever they do, they have the right to do." End of quote. Onsides, offsides, Yankees fans should boo Soto.
Sure. Onsides? Yeah. Because I think that's the Yankee fans showing their true feelings. besides this act that the Yankee fan stands behind right now. Oh, we don't care that he left. Yeah, come on. You didn't want Juan Soto back on your team? Please. See, the Yankee fan, to me, they're fraudulent with the Soto stuff. And I don't usually hate the Yankee fan, but when it comes to Juan Soto, I hate the Yankee fan. Here's why. Because I know what happens. If the Yankees win this series, they are going to taunt Juan Soto and call the Mets little brother. Right? If the Yankees win the series, that will happen. The Rats, though, if Samter and Stu, if the Yankees lose this series, you'll have to put their faces on a milk carton because you won't be able to find them. They'll be like, I don't care. It's regular season. Kiss my rings, blah, 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 blah.
I'll be off on Monday.
You guys won't even talk about it. You guys will be like, oh, it doesn't matter.
Middle of May baseball, who cares?
See, Tom Hansen, who used to work here, who worked here for 5 months, he's like, oh, this series is more important to the Met fan than the Yankee fan. I kind of think it's more important to the Yankee fan. Do you disagree with that, Stu?
Slightly, yes. I mean, no, I agree. Slightly, probably more to the Yankee fan. Not really significant, but if there was a team that was more important to it, it'd probably be the Yankees.
I have no animosity going into this series. Soto's on the Mets. I'm happy. My only animosity is with the Yankee fans pretending like they don't actually care that they lost Juan Soto. All right, come on. What are we doing here? All righty, so the Yankees should boo Juan Soto? Sure, on sides. And also, I'm actually glad the Yankees aren't doing a tribute video. I know he got to the World Series and had a great season, but these tribute posts, anytime a team loses a player in free agency, and the thank you post and the videos, it's like, what are we doing? Remember Jason Vargas? He stunk on the Mets. I think the Mets gave him a tribute video when he came out. It's like, what are you giving a tribute to? He sucked. You should only get a tribute video if you were a great player or a fan favorite. And, you had a great, Juan Soto obviously was a great player for the Yankees last year, but he's not an all-time great Yankee. What are we doing here? A tribute? They're not giving a tribute video. BT reported that. So, but this idea that people thought there would be a tribute video for what? If the Steinbrenner family has any balls, they wouldn't do a tribute video. Imagine how Steinbrenner does a tribute video tonight for Juan Soto. The Yankee fan would boo during that tribute video, but they don't care that Juan Soto left the New York Yankees to go to the Mets, right? Come on. What are we doing? Zach Gelb Show, Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
Alrighty, let's hear from Adam Schefter. This is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Adam Schefter was on the Adam Schefter podcast, and he has high expectations for one surprise team in the NFL for this upcoming season.
I'm going to make a prediction to you right now. The Patriots are going to win more games this year than people realize. Ooh. They're going to be a better team this year than people realize. Had a strong draft, loaded up, and Mike Vrabel, he knows how to get his team ready and compete, and that's why they made the move. And I believe the Patriots will be one of the surprise teams this year. They are, to me, what the Commanders were last year. I know Jaden Daniels was stepping in, but the Commanders gave the Eagles a run, and I could see the Patriots doing the same with the Buffalo Bills this year.
Wow. That would be something. Now, I looked at the Patriots schedule. The Patriots schedule, there should be 9 wins on there. And I wasn't all, like I said the other day, like maybe 8 at best. There should easily be at least 9 wins. Raiders to open up the season. Too bad that's week 1, Stu. It's so tough for me to do something week 1. If that was a little bit later in the season or even week 2 or on, maybe we do a little show trip out of that. Then they're at Miami, the Steelers, the Panthers, at Buffalo, at the Saints, at the Titans. They play the Browns. They play the Falcons. They're at Tampa. They play the Jets. They're at the Bengals. They play the Giants. They play Buffalo. They're at Baltimore. They are at the Jets. And then they play the Dolphins. It's not a tough schedule at all. So it's manageable. I still have questions about the line. I still have questions about the skill position players. But the Patriots under Vrabel have a good defense. And Drake May, as long as he stays healthy, should be a solid quarterback. So let's go around the room here. I'll start with you, Stu. Who is a team this year that is a surprise team for you in the NFL? Someone that maybe people aren't talking about or you think will be better than what people expect out of them?
So I think it's a team that a lot of people had as a playoff team last year, but they did not live up to expectations, and that is the Atlanta Falcons with Kirk Cousins gone, Michael Penix now the starting quarterback. Obviously, they added to their pass rush with James Pierce and Jalen Walker in the draft. The division is manageable. And if you look at their schedule, I think the first 6 or 7 games are kind of tough. But after that, they have the Bills and then the Niners week 6 and 7. The rest of their schedule after that is really manageable. And the fact that they're in an easier division, I wouldn't be shocked if they make the playoffs this year.
So I used to do this exercise all the time with Hickey, because sometimes Hickey would get on the air, or I would get on the air, and I would be like, oh, I'm feeling good about this team. And you could say that, and then you don't really think about the schedule. And I know you just talked about the schedule, and then we would go through the schedule, and it either would meet what we were saying, or it would not meet what you're saying. So I'm going to give you the schedule here. You tell me win or loss for the Atlanta Falcons. Okay. Tampa Bay to open up the season.
I think they can win that game.
All right, just tell me. You go win or loss?
I'll go win. Home win.
At the Vikings.
Loss.
At the Panthers.
Win.
Commanders.
Loss.
All righty, they got a bye week. Bills.
Loss.
At the Niners.
Loss.
Ooh. Dolphins.
Win.
At the Pats.
Win.
Colts.
Win.
Panthers.
Win.
At the Saints.
Win.
Ooh, getting hot here.
I know.
At the Jets.
I say win.
Yeah, see, you're right. Your analysis was good there. Tough schedule in the beginning, and then they get hot. Seahawks.
I'll say loss.
At Tampa Bay.
Win.
You haven't beaten Tampa Bay twice?
Yeah.
Ooh, Stu.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
You want to keep that win or loss? What do you want to do?
I'll change it to a loss. I'll change it to a loss.
It's your schedule.
Yeah.
At the Cardinals.
Win.
Rams.
Loss.
Saints.
Win.
So 10 wins?
Yeah.
So 10 wins right there. That'd be good. 10-7 for the Falcons puts you in the mix to maybe win the division. No, not a lock, but maybe it could send 2 NFC South teams to the postseason this year. Santa, who's your surprise team?
So we think about the last 2 big surprise teams. It was the Houston Texans 2 years ago with C.J. Stroud, and it was Jaden Daniels with the Commanders last year. Mm-hmm. So what do those 2 teams have in common? Rookie quarterbacks who elevated a team to something that we weren't expecting them to be. Mm-hmm. So the Tennessee Titans.
Ooh.
I'm looking at the Titans. If Cam Ward is going to be as good as they hope that he can be, and he's going to be a legit quarterback, there are some weapons there in Tennessee, right? Obviously, they have Pollard that they got, and
Calvin Ridley.
There's some weapons, and they do have a decent defense. They've drafted pretty well over the few years. Tyler Lockett they added to the roster as well. They have Tajay Spears, who's like a good third down back. And the defense is strong enough that I think that they can put together in a weakish division where the Colts have no idea what they're doing and the Jaguars are just a mess.
The Colts couldn't even release their schedule correctly.
Yeah.
They had Tyreek Hill getting arrested, which I didn't think was that big of a deal, and they had to apologize to Tyreek Hill as one of the biggest POSs, really, not ever in the NFL, because we've had, but come on, Tyreek Hill is just a terrible human being. You don't need to apologize to him. But so you think Tennessee's going to be a surprise team?
I think they can be. There's a couple other teams I think could also be a surprise team. The Panthers, to me, I think are riding momentum.
Wait. Hold on. Tennessee. Let's stay with them first.
Yeah.
Schedule, win or loss.
Oh, okay.
At Denver.
Loss.
Rams.
Loss.
Colts.
Win.
At the Texans.
At Texans, loss.
At the Cardinals.
Win.
At the Raiders.
I think the Raiders are going to be a pretty decent loss.
Patriots.
Win.
At the Colts.
Win.
Chargers.
Loss.
Texans.
Home against the Texans. Let's go with the win there.
Seahawks.
Win.
Jaguars.
Home or away?
Home.
Win.
At the Cleveland Browns.
Win.
At the San Francisco 49ers.
Loss.
Chiefs.
Loss.
Saints.
Let's go win.
At the Jaguars.
Let's go loss.
You have them as a 9-8 football team.
There you go.
9-8. I can't say it's crazy with what you just said, but I would be surprised if Tennessee ends up getting 9 wins. That would just be me. But it's a good formula with what you've been playing with the last 2 years, especially if Cam Ward is all that and then some. All righty, Stu, you're going to pull up my schedule, and you're going to have me do the win-loss real quickly. My team, who would have thought I'd be saying this? A coach no one believes in. They just got George Pickens. You got CeeDee Lamb. You got Micah Parsons. And you got Dak Prescott. I think the Dallas Cowboys can be better than what people think. I think a lot of people believe the Cowboys can be like an 8-win, 7-win football team. I think it would not surprise me if the Dallas Cowboys make the playoffs this year. So, Stu, give me the schedule.
All right, starting at the Eagles.
That would be a loss.
Okay, Giants at home.
Win.
At the Bears.
Win.
Home against the Packers.
Loss.
At the Jets.
Win.
At the Panthers.
Win.
Home against the Commanders.
Home against the Commanders?
Yes.
They'll beat them once. Win.
Okay, at the Broncos.
Loss.
Okay, home against the Cardinals.
Win.
All right, then they have a bye. Then they're at the Raiders.
Win.
Home against the Eagles.
Loss.
Home against the Chiefs.
Loss.
At the Lions.
That's a Thursday game, right?
That is a Thursday night game, yes.
Want me to say loss.
Okay, home against the Vikings.
Loss.
Home against the Chargers.
Win.
At the Commanders.
Loss.
And then at the Giants to end the season.
Win. So that was 9 wins.
9 wins, yeah.
9 wins. Could I find a way to squeeze out one more victory? I could. So 9-8. That puts you in the mix to potentially be a playoff team. All righty, talking about the playoffs, the NFL is going to have to vote on something, and it may change the playoff system. We'll tell you what that is when we return. Update time first. Here's Zach.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
Well, the Knicks may very well win this Eastern Conference semifinal series, but they certainly were taught a lesson Wednesday when the Celtics showed a lot of heart, prolonging the series with a win that came without their injured star Jason Tatum. Tonight, Game 6 at Madison Square Garden. The Knicks were a frustrated bunch following Wednesday's loss when they failed to take advantage of opportunity. Josh Hart was a little bothered when asked if tonight is a must-win situation for them.
It doesn't matter where, if it's at home or away. That question is stupidity to me. Every game you go out there, you want to win. You want to compete at the highest level, and obviously we didn't do that. And next game's our next game, and that's all we're focusing on is getting a win.
At the PGA Championship, Jonathan Vegas is still the leader at 8 under par after a 1 under 70 today, but he has just a 2-shot lead over Matthew Pavone and Ryan Gerardo, as well as Alex Smalley as well. Vegas had a solid round until 18 when he double bogeyed the par 4. At Wrigley Field this afternoon, the Cubs lead the White Sox 8-3 in the bottom of the 7th. Pete Crow Armstrong has homered and driven in 4. Stanley Cup playoffs, the Panthers host the Maple Leafs up 3 games to 2. I'm Rich Acker.
The Infinity Sports Network is on your smart speaker. All you have to say is play Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
All right, it is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Aaron Nola of the Philadelphia Phillies is going to the injured list with an ankle sprain. I don't know if you guys know this. Aaron Nola, who just got a new contract like a year ago, it was a 7-year deal. And Aaron Nola, who is considered to be a very good pitcher, he is having a horrific season. Now, he was not good at the end of last season. He signed a 7-year, $172 million contract, and he is not a free agent until 2031. 2031. And he's almost 32. He turns 32 in June. You guys want to take a guess what Aaron Nola's ERA is right now? If you want to take a guess right now, Aaron Nola has started 9 games for the Phillies this year. What do you think his ERA is, Stu?
Guessing it's not very good. I'm guessing it is somewhere in the 5s at least, so I'm going to say 5.5.
Okay. The highest ERA in a season that Aaron Nola's ever had was 4.78. 4.78, and that was in his second season. So that was for start to finish. At 20 starts isn't even a full season, but you get the point. Sam, do you want to take a guess what Aaron Nola's ERA is right now through 9 starts?
1.07.
times about 6.
6.07.
He is a 6.16 ERA.
Oh.
He is 1-7 with a 6.16 ERA. Aaron Nola, the most walks he's ever had in a season was 80. After that, the second most were 50, which was a year ago. He already has 16 walks this season. He stinks. He stinks right now, Aaron Nola. 1-7 with a 6.16 ERA. Guy is on a 7-year contract worth $172 million. Whew. Making $24.5 million this year. 1-7 with a 6.16 ERA. He's going to get a limb. It's not good. Not good right now. Let me get to this. Albert Breer. NFL owners will vote next week to radically change the playoff seeding, doing it strictly by record and reseeding after the first round. And the push-play proposal for now remains the same as it was in March. Do we think that we need to change the seeding format in the NFL postseason? Where, okay, if you're a division winner, you still get in. You would still get a spot in the postseason, but you wouldn't guaranteed a top 4 seed because the first 4 spots go to your division winners, so you get a home playoff game. Samter, where do you lie on this one? I know you're always good with the NFL rules and the formats.
For me, I think divisions matter. I think the division winner should have a home game. If you are in another division, you have a better record than a team, from another division, then it sucks to be you. But I think that there's just a reality, and some divisions are easier and harder than others. Sometimes, you might not have as good of a record in your division, but maybe your division was harder than another division. And, a team got 11 wins because they got to beat up on a crappy schedule. It's not a level schedule in the NFL, so records are so variable from team to team, schedule to schedule, division to division. If you win your division, home game, get into the playoffs.
Stu, where do you lie on this one?
I kind of like this proposal. I think that if you should get in.
Stu.
If you win your division, you should get in the playoffs, which isn't the argument here. But
No.
I think getting a home game, I'd rather see the teams that are the best teams get the home game. So if you're in a division with the Chiefs, and let's say the Chargers get 12 wins, I think they should get a home game if they have one of the best 4 records.
So let's do this because, you remember the teams that got into the postseason with a crappy record. The Seahawks, remember they beat the Saints with the beast mode run. The Commanders, they ended up losing. I think it was to the Buccaneers. I think the Washington football team then, but they got in with Air Heineke, where you had Heineke in that game. He had that crazy run, but they ended up losing to Tampa Bay. But those are like the way where you have a team that gets in and they get a home game just because they won their division. And, a team like the Saints, they lost to the Seahawks. However, the Commanders weren't able to beat, I think it was the Buccaneers in Tom Brady's first season in Tampa Bay. But I think why this proposal is there, and it's coming from the Lions, is because the Lions and the Vikings played that last game of the season, and Detroit won, and they got the number 1 overall seed. The Vikings lost, and they ended up going all the way to the 5th spot. Now, Minnesota ended up losing anyway. They lost to the Rams in that 4-5 matchup. But you take a glance at it. If we would have last year would have just done this by the most wins, Lions would have been the 1, Eagles would have been the 2, Vikings would have been the 3, Commanders would have been the 4, Packers would have been the 5, Tampa Bay would have been the 6, and the Rams would have been the 7. So I'm just curious how this would have changed it. Lions would still have got the bye. Eagles would have still been the 2. They would have gone up against the Rams, who they beat anyway in the postseason. The Vikings would have played Tampa Bay, so maybe Minnesota would have got through, but not a guarantee. And the Commanders would have played the Packers. The Commanders could have lost that. They've also could have won that. And the same could be said for Green Bay. I still don't think it changes much drastically when you look at that. Sure, maybe the Vikings would have got to the second round, but quite frankly, I would have trusted, with the way that both those teams were, I would have trusted Baker Mayfield more in a big spot than I would have Sam Darnold. And Minnesota also would have got a home game, and it's very tough to go win a game in that stadium. I still don't think it would have really changed that much. Maybe actually, it could have benefited the most? Potentially the Lions. Because in theory here, I wonder who then the Lions would have got. Because the Eagles probably would play Minnesota. Let's say if Minnesota won. Let's just say Minnesota won, for argument's sake. Minnesota would have been the 3. They would go to Philly the next week, the 2, as long as Philadelphia would have beat the Rams. So that would have been the next week matchup. So the Lions then would have probably got the winner of the Commanders-Packers game. And hey, if it's the Commanders, well, they beat the Lions anyway. If it's the Packers, maybe it's... Yeah, I don't think this really changes much. So that's, to me, why I would keep it where it is, to Samter's point. I think you should get something for winning your division. And yes, are there some weaker divisions than others? Sure. But I don't think that we should make these moves in that rare year where the division winner's 8-9, or the rare year where you have a 15-win team and a 14-win team, and the Vikings ended up being fraudulent anyway. Because they put all their season on Sam Darnold in a big game. Sam Darnold urinated down his leg up against the Lions, and then he projectile vomited up against the Rams the following week with a chance to redeem himself. So I am more out than in on this rule proposal. I'm also very out on our vending machines around here. So you need exact change now. So I wanted, it's Ritz Bits. That's what I wanted. That's what I was craving today. I wanted a little cracker with some peanut butter and cheese. Or maybe it's just cracker with peanut butter, the one in the vending machines. That's what I'm looking for. So I need exact change. So $1.50. I put $2 in the machine. They gave me back quarters. I then put the $1 in them with 50 cents, and it says you need exact change. It's listed as $1.50. So what I need to now do during the break is I'm going to go to the other vending machine, and hopefully that one cooperates. This vending machine right out in the newsroom sucks. It says exact change. Whenever you put exact change in there, it still doesn't give you the item. So it's a rubbish vending machine. I remember we actually had vending machines that worked around here. Last time I went there, it wanted $10 on my credit card as a minimum. I'm not spending $10 at a vending machine. It's crazy. None of these vending machines work here.
Well, the ones that work, even the ones in the back, they're always empty. There's one candy bar and 2 bags of chips.
Well, I did see the other day there was a pretzel that was hanging. A pretzel bag that was hanging. And someone put it in and it got stuck. I know one little shake by Zach Gelb on that vending machine, I get a free bag of pretzels. So if they don't take my exact change in that vending machine, I'm shaking that vending machine if that bag of pretzels is still there. Anyway, coming on back, Zach Gelb Show, Infinity Sports Network. We'll do a news brief next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Alrighty, hour number 3 of our radio program. That's right, it is the Zach Gelb Show, coast to coast on the Infinity Sports Network. Scott Hastings is going to join us. Does a great job calling the Denver Nuggets games as a TV analyst. He will join us 20 minutes from now. Last night, Denver found a way to force a Game 7. Game 7 will be Sunday up against the Oklahoma City Thunder at Oklahoma City. That will be a 3:30 p.m. Eastern time tip, 2:30 p.m. Central out there. But let's update you on some of the biggest stories in the world of sports with some audio, and we will get to a news brief right now.
Time for your daily news brief. We get you caught up on the rumors, reports, and reconnaissance from the day in sports.
The Ritz Bit, or Ritz Bits, is a very underrated snack. It's a cheese cracker. Problem is when you house them as quickly I did during the break, which is in like 3 minutes. Got a lot of cheese now stuck in my teeth. A lot of cracker stuck in my gums and all that stuff. And I got to talk. A little bit difficult here if I'm not going to lie. I'm like Jamal Murray right now. I'm playing sick. I'm playing hurt. See if I ball out and have a Jamal Murray type of performance. Let's go to the ice, though. Hurricanes up 3-1 in the series. They were in D.C. last night. Chance to close out the Capitals. They did so. They won 3-1. I guess for the Hurricanes, just as long as the Rangers aren't there in the playoffs, they're a really damn good team. We know what they're capable of. Rantanen got traded there, and then Rantanen got traded from there to then the Stars because of the fact that he was originally with the Avalanche, got traded to the Hurricanes. They couldn't get a long-term deal done, so he got traded to the Stars. So the Hurricanes are off to the conference finals because a big reason it was 1-1. And in the third period, with like 2 minutes left, Svechnikov ended up getting a goal. They ended up getting an empty net goal to win 3-1. But let's see the Svechnikov goal to make it 2-1 late in the third. This not only gave the lead to the Hurricanes, it ended up giving them the series victory in 5 games, taking care of the Washington Capitals. Here's the Hurricanes Radio Network.
Now here's Jarvis. Could be a 3-on-2 for Carolina. Svechnikov. He'll get it right back from Walker, and he scores! Yes! A sharp angle! Andrei Svechnikov! He beats Thompson, and Carolina, with 1:59 to go, takes a 2-1 lead.
Don't be afraid as a hockey announcer to hold out that voice crack a little bit. Whenever you get he shoots, he scores! I'm okay with the voice crack. I'm good with that. Like Sean McDonough, whenever he used to do college, well, he still does college football, even the NFL. I loved him on Monday Night Football because he'd always like, touchdown! A voice crack with an announcer is not a bad thing. The Jets are the President's Trophy winners. We've not had a President's Trophy winner go on to win the Stanley Cup since 2013 when the Chicago Blackhawks did that. Dallas was up 3-1, looking to eliminate the Jets last night in Winnipeg. And the Jets ended up getting a big victory and a much-needed victory to send this back to Dallas for a Game 6. The Jets are still down in the series, but they only trail now 3-2. Let's listen up here. This was a goal on the power play. It made it 2-0. It was the first of 2 goals for this play. Let's hear it sounded on the Jets Radio Network.
Maloney for Scheifele, break wide far side for Connor, down low Ehlers, strong shot toward the net, he scores! Nikolai Ehlers from the goal line, the wraparound goes along the ice past Ottinger, it's a power play goal, and Winnipeg leads it 2-0.
Nikolai Ehlers with his first of 2 goals last night, and the Jets did secure a 4-0 shutout victory up against the Dallas Stars. You know, that's Paul Edmonds on the Jets Radio Network. That's probably how I envision a Winnipeg Jets radio announcer sounding. Anyway, let's go to the hardwood. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He did not get the job done in Game 6 to end this series. It's going back to OKC for a Game 7. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on a Game 7 up against the Denver Nuggets.
Just do or die. It's what you live for. It's what you worked your whole life for. It's either your dream continues or your dream ends. So you lay it all out there on the floor and live with the results. But yeah, I'm excited for the opportunity for sure.
Now let's hear from Mark Daigneault, the coach of the Oklahoma City Thunder, the mentality heading into a Game 7.
We need to be who we've been all season and embrace the opportunity that's in front of us. We get to play that game at home because of the work we did during the regular season in front of our fans. So, we're obviously disappointed in the outcome tonight, but when the ball goes up in the air, we'll be excited to go.
Sam, to who wins Game 7 between the Thunder and the Nuggets? Do the Thunder get tight and Nikola Jokic goes off to the conference finals again? Or do you see the Oklahoma City Thunder being the best team in the league and getting the job done?
I see SGA coming through as the MVP and winning the game.
Stu?
Yeah, I think the Thunder are the better team. They win at home.
This is like college game day where they're all on one team. I'm kind of on the Thunder as well. I don't think I'm just going to pick the Nuggets to break up the mush spot here so we don't have the graphic of us go viral. Yeah, I'm going to take the Thunder. I'm rooting for the Denver Nuggets, though, because I want to see the greatness continue with Nikola Jokic. Let's go to David Adelman, the coach of the Denver Nuggets, what he saw from his team with their back up against the walls.
Same thing I always see. Those losses were tough, but, it was 3-2. The series is still here. I've said this, I know it's cliche, but every game is its own chapter. It's its own thing. It's its own entity. And different people are going to step up, just like for them. They've had people step up in Game 4 and 5. And tonight we had that team that did it.
We have breaking news on the Zach Gelb Show.
We do?
We have some breaking news according to...
What sport?
The NFL.
Rodgers?
No.
Trade?
No.
Free agent signing?
No.
Is this like actual big news, or is it just like breaking news where it's not actually big news?
This is big news.
Big news.
Big news.
Anything about the rules?
Nope.
Stadiums?
It is contract related.
Someone got an extension. Oh,
yes.
Is it Trey Hendrickson?
It is not.
Is it Brock Purdy?
It is Brock flippin' Purdy.
Rock out with your Brock out looking Purdy awesome. What is it? Hit me with it.
According to the insiders, his agent Kyle Strongen says that Brock Purdy has agreed to terms on a 5-year, $265 million extension.
My God.
$181 million in total guarantees, including $165 in the first 3 new years of the deal that now runs through 2030.
And I'm not good at math, but on my calculator, 265 divided by 5 is $53 million. Told you it was going to be north of $50 million. Told you it was going to be a top 5 salary in AAV for a starting quarterback. You know, good for the Niners. They get the deal done with Brock Purdy. It wasn't a matter of if they were going to get a deal done. It was just going to be when that they ended up getting the deal done, and they finally take care of business here with Brock Purdy. They were shed enough salary this offseason with other players on the roster they said goodbye to. Now we're going to find out really what Brock Purdy is made out of. It's a good story. It's a fun story so far. It was Mr. Irrelevant into then someone that was viewed last year as a top 10 quarterback, and this past year, it was not a stellar year for the Niners. It wasn't a stellar year for Brock Purdy. It wasn't all on him. You had the Christian McCaffrey injury, the Brandon Ayuk injury, Deebo Samuel no longer on the team. Kittle got his extension done. This is a 49ers team that I'm going to be fascinated by how we're talking about them at the end of the year because they lost a lot. Now more is going to be asked out of Brock Purdy, and there's no more excuses. There's no more, ooh, nice story, Mr. Irrelevant. No, now you're a $53 million a year quarterback. All right, that's what you are. The only quarterbacks that make more money than you per year. Dak Prescott makes $60. Then you have a few guys that are at $55 million a year. Burrow, Allen, Jordan Love, and Trevor Lawrence are at $55 million a year. The $53 million a year guys are Tua Tagovailoa and also Jared Goff. So now go earn that money. I don't think there is a quarterback in the NFL this year under more pressure than Brock Purdy. Here's why. He got the money. So, yes, he's not under pressure to lose his job. But now you have to show that you're worth that money, and you have a team where more is going to be asked of you, and you have a team that people say, okay, where are they heading? Like the last few years, they were one of the best teams in the NFL. They've been to 2 Super Bowls. They had leads up against the Kansas City Chiefs by 10 points in both of those Super Bowls. Can you find a way to win your division? Right now, I'd say the Rams are better. Can you find a way to make the playoffs? Right now, I would say you should be a wild card team, but just making the wild card for like other teams, that's acceptable. Like in the AFC, the Patriots make the wild card this year. Their fans are doing backflips in the streets, right? They're doing somersaults in the streets. You know, if the Dallas Cowboys make the playoffs this year, you know, those fans will be fired up. But a team like the San Francisco 49ers, it's not about just making the playoffs. It's can you put yourself back into that legitimate, bona fide Super Bowl contending conversation? And there's going to be a lot of criticism week in and week out of Brock Purdy because I know how this works. The weeks he plays well, so he was worth the money. If he goes on a 2-3 week stretch where it doesn't look well, then it's they paid him $53 million a year. So this was a deal that we always knew was going to get done. We expected it to be in that $53, $54 million range. It ends up being $53 million a year on the surface when Santa just gave me that information. Now, it's one thing to get the contract. Can you go out there and show that you are a legitimate top 10 quarterback in the league and a legitimate quarterback that you feel like you could win a Super Bowl with the 49ers and get them over that hump? Because you look at some of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league, Dak Prescott, I don't think he could win a Super Bowl. Joe Burrow, I do believe he can. Josh Allen, I do believe he can. Jordan Love, it's still early, but I like what we've seen the last 2 years. Trevor Lawrence, I don't think he could win a Super Bowl. Tua Tagovailoa, I don't think he could win a Super Bowl. Jared Goff, good quarterback. Biggest game of his life in the Super Bowl up against the Patriots, he stunk. And this past year, in the second round of the playoffs, he was terrible up against the Commanders. Justin Herbert, you know, he hasn't won a playoff game yet. Lamar Jackson's had his playoff struggles, but he's a multiple-time MVP award winner. So I just went through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL. And now you throw Brock Purdy into that conversation. Those are the top 10 highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL per year. And there are legitimate questions how many of those guys could actually go win a Super Bowl. So it's a credit to what Brock has already done. It's a credit to the belief that Kyle Shanahan has and John Lynch has in Brock Purdy. You've been a solid quarterback. You've been a good quarterback. Now we need to see if Brock Purdy can not only become very good, but if Brock Purdy can become great. That's what we need to see. Because he doesn't have the same weapons as he once has. McCaffrey always injured. Kittle getting older, even though he's a heck of a tight end. Ayuk coming off an injury. Deebo Samuel no longer there. So now more is going to be put on the plate of Brock Purdy, and he's got to find the way to ball out this upcoming year. All righty, let's do this real quickly. Let's go back to the news brief, if you could just give me the audio. Ooh, nice job there, Stu. Let's get to Ryan Clark. Tomlin needs to go somewhere else. This is on First Take.
I believe that Mike Tomlin is unfireable. I believe if Mike Tomlin steps away from being the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, that should be his decision. I do believe that should be the decision he makes. I believe Mike Tomlin should coach in another organization. Mike Tomlin should be a fresh voice somewhere else, because I believe, as great as a coach he is, and he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, I believe his voice has run stale there. I believe he's allowed that team to reach the highest of heights they're going to reach unless they can get a top-tier quarterback. He needs to go have his Andy Reid Kansas City run.
I will say this. I'm not saying Ryan Clark is wrong. I just don't understand why you can't fire Mike Tomlin. Like, if the greatest coach of all time, Bill Belichick, got fired from New England with 6 Super Bowl championships, why can't you fire Mike Tomlin?
It was mutual with Belichick.
No, it wasn't. You're funny. That's the thing. And I've said this before, I'll say it again, as I'm still trying to get the cheese and the crackers out of my teeth that I just had during the break. If I'm the Steelers, I say this to Mike Tomlin entering this season. I would have said this in the offseason. You have 2 years. Either find us a franchise quarterback or get us a playoff winner, or else you're out. That's what I would have as a standard right now. Let's go to Pete Carroll, Brock and Salk in Seattle, Sports 710 AM. Let's go to Pete Carroll and why he left the Seahawks.
It came to me that there was a time that we probably were about to face one of the bigger shifts in the time of the program, and it was really John's turn. It was his turn to take over, and I know I had the lead voice and all of that all through that time, and I was really hoping that John could become the general manager of the club and run it, and so. Jody was great about it, and so it's a little bit different than maybe how people perceived it. And there was a lot of big changes that were going to happen, and we might not agree on all of those changes. Because I was going to hang with some guys more than maybe he would at the time, and the changes they made have obviously turned out great.
Yeah, I just don't buy that. It still feels like it was his decision. I don't think they want him to be the coach anymore. Let's go to John Schneider. He was on the Rich Eisen show on the Infinity Sports Network on drafting Jalen Milroe after signing Sammy Darnold.
Did you have to give Darnold a heads up, or what your plan is for Milroe? I mean, you just signed.
Yeah, Coach. So Mike McDonald, gave Sam a heads up, and it was kind of, within that period, it was coming down the pike. Like, hey, this isn't about you. This is about acquiring an impact player, in our opinion. So Mike talked to Sam. I was able to communicate with Drew, and obviously we were communicating with Sam Howell all throughout the weekend as well. Sam Howell's a special person too.
Yeah, that you ended up trading to Minnesota. He was so special. I think Jalen Milroe is a good insurance policy if Sam Darnold doesn't work out, because there's a lot of upside with Jalen Milroe. His problem is he's never been able to find a middle ground. It's either all or nothing with Jalen Milroe. Finally, here's Bill Belichick, Good Morning America with Michael Strahan. I watched the entirety of this interview. Didn't really pick up until the end of it when Michael Strahan asked about Bill Belichick's relationship with Jordan Hudson, as it's spelled. Go ahead.
A lot has been made also in the professional life, but also of your personal life, because it's spilled over into your professional life in a lot of ways, and a lot has been made about your relationship with Jordan Hudson. It's been getting a lot of attention. She isn't here this morning, but what do you think about all the attention that your relationship has been getting?
Yeah, well, she's been terrific, through the whole process, and she's been very helpful to me. She does the business things that don't relate to North Carolina that come up in my life, so I can concentrate on football. And that's really what I want to do. I acknowledged her in the book. She was very helpful on that with the tribute pages. And also, giving a perspective of the book from kind of a business side. Sometimes I get a little football technical, and so she did a good job of keeping me on balance there.
So what did Jordan mean to you?
Well, we have a good personal relationship, and I'm not talking about personal relationships, Michael. You know that.
Okay, I know that, Coach. But I'm saying, are you happy?
Yeah.
You look happy.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd see you doing yoga. Only happy people do yoga, Coach. Only happy people do yoga. Well, I know a lot's been made about all of this, and I just hope that the focus gets back on you and if you're happy, we're all happy for you.
I appreciate it, Michael.
And I wish you well at UNC.
And that's exactly why Bill Belichick did not need Jordan Hudson holding his hand during the CBS interview, because he could just deflect questions himself. He did not need her holding his hand. By the way, did you know that Jordan Hudson, I always thought it was Jordan. I did not know this is spelled Jordon. Did you know that, Stu?
I didn't either, no.
Yeah, that's why I keep on saying Jordan, just to remember how it's spelled correctly. I've been, up until a week and a half ago, been spelling it Jordan, but it's Don. Anyway, who gives a crap? It is a Zach Gelb show on the Infinity Sports Network. Scott Hastings joins us next as we will talk about the Nuggets in a Game 7 on Sunday up against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Also squeeze in some of the other happenings in the association with the former NBA player.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Zach Gelb Show.
Alrighty, welcome back in. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. The Denver Nuggets have forced the Game 7. You'll see that coming up on Sunday in OKC. Tip-off at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll see if the Nuggets can get one more victory to advance to go up against the Timberwolves, or it will be Oklahoma City going to the Western Conference Finals. Let's go out to the guest line right now. Welcome in Scott Hastings, who does a great job as a part of the TV network for the Denver Nuggets. Also hosts radio out there on Altitude in Denver as well. Played in the NBA with the Knicks, the Hawks, the Heat, the Pistons, where he won a championship and then wrapped up his career in Denver, and he's kind enough to join us right now. Scott, appreciate the time as always. Thanks for it. How are you?
I'm doing good, Zach. Thank you for having me.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. So you take a look at last night. Let me start with Jamal Murray. You know, if he's sick 3 years ago, he's probably not allowed to play in that game, but he was battling an illness last night, and it didn't hold him back. Just how about what Jamal Murray was able to do with the back up against the wall last night for Denver?
You know what? It's the second time in these playoffs. I think he had one earlier in the Clippers series. It was either Clipper Series or Memphis, the Knicks, the last game. He came out, he's got long sleeve shirts on underneath his uniform, and we find out later that's a new look, and he just absolutely killed it. I think it's the third time that in his career he's had a Michael Jordan kind of illness game, and he's actually played real well. I think, to be honest with you, why that is he's such a competitive dude, and he really wants to win. That I think when he's under the weather, he lets it come to him. And I thought last night was a prime example of he really let the game come to him. Hit a couple shots early. That first bucket where Dort pushes Hartenstein into him, he gets a 4-point play early in the game. I think just really, kind of set him up. You say, okay, the ball can go in even if I don't feel great. But he's had a history playing pretty well when he's been under the weather. But I think it's because he slows down and he lets the game come to him. He doesn't really force it, and he plays a more efficient game. And last night he was heck of efficient for a guy that is your prime outside shooting guy.
Obviously we nationally talk about the Nuggets. We talk to Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray. Then you get to the other guys like a Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon, even Russell Westbrook, as he's always a polarizing player. But Julian Strawther was sensational last night. Christian Brown has really developed early into a good player and someone that's in their starting lineup. Just how about the performances from them two last night? Strawther giving 15 off the bench, and then Christian Brown giving you 23 points as well.
When Christian scores like that, they're pretty good. To be honest with you, when he gets 20, they don't lose very often, and all that does is just opens up the game a little bit, because now you got to concentrate on it. The games they've lost, if you go back and look at, whether it's the bench or Michael Porter or even Christian, they really struggled making shots, and it allows a really, really good defensive team to really just clamp down in the middle. When you're not worried about anybody from the outside knocking shots down, it's easy to keep three bodies in the paint around Nikola Jokic, and he's still trying to get something going, and he struggled in a couple of games as far as his efficiency goes. So, yeah, when the others, I listened to Tim McMahon of ESPN last night in the post game from the floor, and I thought he said it best. He said, "Listen, Denver's a good team, but they're not deep. And now when you're starting to get others really contributing, whether it's Christian or in last night's case Julian coming off the bench, they become a real dangerous team." And I couldn't agree with him more. And now it's just, can these guys do it in back-to-back games? I think a lot of, if you're being honest, you caught these guys in an honest moment where they just didn't, do the politically correct line. They feel they gave away games, 4 at home and 5 on the road also, with leads going into the fourth quarter. They think maybe had they had any production from, Porter or Christian in either one of those two games, they could have already ended this series themselves. So it leads up to a really interesting Game 7 against a really good team who's going to be on their home floor.
Yeah, and also, obviously, you need a Gordon or a Porter in a Game 7 to just be serviceable. But I kind of feel Game 7, a lot of people are going to pick the Thunder in this one. This is a Nikola Jokic game to me where, maybe it is a Game 5 type of performance, but they're able to get a victory this time around. That's as someone that doesn't have a dog in the fight here, Scott, from just a basketball standpoint, I want to see the Joker just have a sensational night and win the game, because what it does to his already ridiculous legacy, if he gets to a conference finals and maybe even better than that in a year where they fired the coach and the GM with 3 games left in the season, with the team, like you said, isn't deep, that would just be stupid, in my opinion.
It would add another chapter in the book, wouldn't it? And listen, everybody's going to pick Oklahoma City, and well, they should, and they deserved it. They had the best regular season in their history. They had the best regular season of the league this year. They're a great team. Shai Gilgeous is going to win the MVP. They're deep. They're 10 deep at least, and they've got tons of draft picks still to even add to the talent. But I believe it was Jalen Rose, and it might have been somebody else. It might have. I don't know. I'm gonna give Jalen credit because I like Jalen. But a few years ago, remember when Cleveland came back and won their championship, and they beat Golden State in Game 7.
Yeah.
And I think it was Jalen. It could have been Charles. It might have been somebody who goes, when you play a Game 7, it's a dangerous situation when the best team in the world is on the other team. And at that time, the best player in the world was LeBron James, and you made it a one-game winner-take-all with the best player in the world, and Cleveland came back and won that game and won that series. So I think Joker's probably the best player in the world right now. He'll get second place in the MVP voting, but I'm glad he's on the team I'm going to cover and that I'm going to be cheering for while I'm at the game there on Sunday. I think that bodes well, and I agree with you. I think if Denver finds a way to win this Game 7, you've just added another chapter really to Nikola's awesome resume, Hall of Fame resume that he's already put out there.
And you see him night in and night out. We're watching him from afar, and obviously everyone parachutes in and watches him religiously during the playoffs. No disrespect to David Adelman, but it feels like Nikola Jokic has been more vocal, and it feels like he's kind of a player coach right now. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, listen, yes, and this is no slight on David, but I think you also have to have a coach that allows that. You know what I'm saying? You've got to have a coach. And the one thing that I think David did, rightly so, right away, now he's been an assistant with this team for the last 8 years, so he's grown up with all these guys anyway. There's a relationship with all these guys anyway. It's better to have a more friendly relationship when you're an assistant sometimes than it is even when you're a head coach. And he is, talking about David, is humble. He's egoless. He's the son of a Hall of Fame coach who he's leaned on his dad, I think, through all this process, whose dad understood my job is to coach, but it's the players that matter. And I think he understands that. And if he can empower guys, and I agree with you, I think by far they're the shallowest team that is still playing in the playoffs, right? I mean, I don't think anybody, and I think that's one of the reasons you've lost your GM. And he understands if we're going to try to do anything that surprises the world, shocks the world, right? These guys got to be empowered. They've got to take ownership. They've got to want to win this thing more than even I do. I coached high school for a couple of years, and I remember talking to one of my assistants, and we won a game. We were a really good team, and we won a game by like 23, and I think we probably should have won by 40, right? Wasn't good enough, but maybe we won by 17, whatever. And I'm sitting out in the locker room after the game, and it's just my old-time coach that I had with me, John Suter. He played at Syracuse. He was a teammate of Dave Bing. I mean, he's an old school guy. And I said, I just don't think these guys get it. This is the time of their life. This should be the most important thing. And I just don't. I think they take it easy. All the different stuff coaches complain about when you got a good team and you still won easily. And he said to me, Coach, you got to realize no one's going to love this more than you do. And it really struck a nerve in me. And I think that's probably right, especially in high school, maybe even at the college level. But at the pro level, if you can get a group of guys that the journey you're on at that moment is as much, if not more important to them than yourself, I think you got a good formula, and I think that's the recipe that David Adelman came in and is trying to cook up. Let's see, because I could be the most brilliant coach in the world, and if these guys think this is over and they don't want to play, it ain't going to matter. They haven't played like that, and I think at this time it was the perfect chef to have in the kitchen.
Scott Hastings wrapping up with him. The Denver Nuggets are into a Game 7, which you will see Sunday up against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, how do you think the Thunder are going to respond to this pressure? I know that the local fan in Denver may not feel this way, but I think all the pressure is on the Thunder going into this Game 7 with the young team.
Well, listen, I think, Zach, that when they fired the coach and GM with 3 games left in the regular season, and it looks like you could drop all the way down to 6th seed, or who knows, you lose all 3, you're in the play-in. I think you've been playing with house money.
Yeah.
You win those 3 games, and as Adelman said, when you got to Game 7 with the Clippers, those last 3 games of the regular season earned you the right to have this game right here at home tonight. And the way they played in this series, they've earned them the right to be in a Game 7, but they're playing with house money. I don't think and I don't follow betting odds, or I don't follow all the sports betting apps or anything like this. I got to believe there wasn't I got to believe if you took the odds that this is going to be a 7-game series, you probably would have already cashed in.
Yeah.
Because I don't think anybody expected to see this. So I'm with you. You don't ever want to lose a Game 7 at home. I do think I've always said I think the pressure in a Game 7 is always on the home team to hold court, just like in the NFL, the NFC Championship, AFC Championship, whatever you're doing, you're in the AFC Championship game. The pressure's on the home team because you're supposed to win it. So we'll see. I'll say this. Listen, I mean, whether Denver wins or Denver loses doesn't matter. Oklahoma City is a really good team. I mean,
no doubt.
They are a really good team. I think, and I've been trying to say Denver's really good. They're just missing a piece in here, a consistent play here or there. But Denver's a really good team. They're just not very deep. And when you can get contributions, when you can get Joker and Murray playing like Joker and Murray, and then I think they're 5-0 in these playoffs when Gordon scores 20. They've got to be up in that same type of number when Christian Brown can, throw up a 20 as well. So I don't know. We'll see. I think it's going to be a whale of a ball game, and I think it's going to be just like games 4, 5, and 6. It's probably going to come down to the last 3 minutes.
You lean Knicks or you lean Celtics tonight with New York at home with the chance to send home the defending champs?
After watching First Take, and listen, I was drafted by the Knicks.
Yeah.
But after watching First Take today and watching Stephen A. And all the stuff he was talking about, and then Spike Lee coming on, all the New York. I think for the first time in my life, because I also played for the Pistons and we beat the Celtics. For the first time in my life, I think I'm cheering for the Boston Celtics to force a Game 7.
Wow. You were that turned off by Stephen A. Smith and Spike Lee?
It drove me crazy today. I ended up turning the program off. Drove me off, and I know it and like both those guys, but that drove me crazy.
Here's Scott Hastings. Scott, appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Zach. Anytime.
You got it. There he is. Scott Hastings joining us. You got a Game 7 coming up on Sunday with the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Denver Nuggets. We'll get to Custer, Nevada on the other side. We'll get a Preakness prediction from him. We'll wrap up the show on the other side. Update time first. Here's Zach.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
The 49ers have had some contentious quarterback situations lately, but their contract situations lately, but their quarterback was another matter as Brock Purdy reportedly gets a 5-year extension from the Niners worth a total of $260 million, $181 million of which is guaranteed. One part of the Eastern Conference Finals is set. We're still waiting on the other half. Game 6 tonight between the Knicks and Celtics at Madison Square Garden. The defending champs lost their star Jason Tatum in Game 4, but didn't roll over and give up their title easily as they won Game 5. Head coach Joe Mazzulla taking a page from the 2004 Red Sox.
Now we just have to win one game, and that's just kind of how you have to look at it. So we got to win one road game. Obviously, they're going to play their absolute best, and we're going to have to do whatever it takes. But I think just constantly looking at it, I've just got to win one game and take it from there.
Second round of the PGA Championship, Jonathan Vegas has a 2-shot lead at 8 under par. Scotty Scheffler still in striking distance at 3 under, but those behind Vegas immediately are Matthew Pavone, Matt Fitzpatrick, and Alex Smalley. At Wrigley today, the Cubs down the White Sox 13-3 as Pete Crow Armstrong drove in 6. I'm Rich Ackerman.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Hey, this is Howie. And this is Nick. We're the Backstreet Boys. And you're listening to the Zach Gelb Show. And guess what? Zach is back. All right.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Oh, my God. We're back again.
All right, it is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. You have the Preakness tomorrow. I wasn't expecting a Preakness call today because Sovereignty, who won the Kentucky Derby, is not racing in the second leg of the Triple Crown in the Preakness. But let's go to Custer, Nevada, 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Let's go to Custer right now. Custer, what's happening?
Hello, Zach.
Is this Bob?
Yeah, you got it.
Bob. It says Custer in Nevada. I'm like, this has got to be Bob.
You got it. Hey, so did you make a score last weekend on the Derby?
Yes. When I was, or 2 weekends ago, I think it was, when I was in Las Vegas, I had a 9-1, I had a ticket on the winner Sovereignty. I had a friend that was at the Derby, and he said, bet Sovereignty, bet Sovereignty. So 5 minutes before the race started, I went up to the teller, which I was in the one of the BetMGM sports books at the Cosmopolitan, and I ended up cashed out at 9-1. So it was a successful trip.
Hey, that's great to hear, Zach. We're glad you visited us out here in Nevada. But I thought winning a 9-1 shot would turn you into a horse fan. I guess it didn't do that.
Well, I need the horse that wins the Derby to be there for the Preakness. Like I'm into the 3 races out of the year if there's a little skin in the game and a little Kentucky Triple Crown on the line, but that's not the case this year because Sovereignty you're not going to see until Belmont.
Yeah, my own feeling is, and I followed horse racing for a long time now. I've actually worked on some harness horses with a close friend of mine. I know horses a little bit. I bet Sovereignty was sore after that race. They just didn't say so. That's just because, Zach, a trainer's dream, their total dream of their life, their Olympus to climb is to win the Triple Crown. So I know we're hearing all this stuff, all these other reasons. I think the horse probably came out of the race a little bit sore. So that's why they're skipping the Preakness tomorrow.
All right, Bob. Well, you will be the horse whisperer on this show. Who's winning the Preakness then?
I'll try. Well, Bob Baffert has a horse in the one-horse goal-orientated, and that horse is very inexperienced, just 2 lifetime starts, but Baffert is really a cagey trainer, and I don't think he'd start the horse if he didn't think he had a shot, and I think we're going to see that horse go out pretty quickly with journalism racing much closer to the front this time. Now, we don't know what the track will be like, though, Zach. If it's real sloppy like the Derby was, that benefits some horses, and some horses hate water, mud getting splashed in their face. It's pretty intense. It really is. So,
what about American Promise at 15-1? I'm just going off names.
Yeah.
I kind of like the name American Promise at 15-1.
Yeah, that's a Wayne Lucas horse, and Lucas is a long time trainer. I forget how old he is now. He's quite a character too when you see him at the racetrack. Most of these trainers are really approachable. When you see them at the track, they meet people, they'll talk to you. It's kind of cool. But, every horse in this race has a shot, Zach. You really can't throw anybody out.
So you have to bet one thing in this race, because I know there's a bunch of different ways to bet horse racing. What is the one thing our horse whisperer, the General Bob, is going to be kind of doing here? What would you exactly do if you had to advise people on how to bet?
Well, the most secure way to bet is win, place, and show. But so many people get caught up in these exotic bets like your exactas, trifectas, superfectas, because they see that, somebody bet $1 and they got back 80 grand or something. Yeah. That is so hard to do, Zach. You got to box 4 horses. You got to hope some long shot comes in. But win, place, and show is the most secure way to really bet and get some money back. I think Journalism is the best horse in the race. He's only been off 2 weeks since the Derby. He almost won in the Derby, and this race is 110 yards shorter. Mm-hmm. The problem is we don't know if Journalism is at 100%.
Yeah.
We'll
also 8-5, so it's not fun odds to bet on. No.
In fact, when the race goes off, it'll probably be 7-5, something like that.
Do you think the horse knows that it's in a race? Just wondering, Bob.
Yeah, I know. Jerry Seinfeld always talks about that, Zach. Does the horse really know he's in a race? My time around harness horses, the horses really do like to work out and run. Mm-hmm. It's hard to say if they really know they're in a competition, though. They are amazing animals to be around. Whether they know they're racing or not, though, I don't know,
Well, Bob, appreciate it. Thanks so much. Enjoy the Preakness. There he is, Bob in Nevada, joining us on the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Maybe he'll be our horse whisperer. So he's saying goal-oriented is 6-1. would be who he would take. I'm just going to go American Promise. Not just based off nothing. I just looked at American Promise like the name, see 15-1, boom. Throw $25 down, see if we can win it 15 times. That'd be nice. All righty. Let's do this real quickly. Brock Purdy signed a new contract, or that's the report. Brock Purdy, the new deal with the San Francisco 49ers. It's a 5-year extension, $53 million a year is the AAV there for Brock Purdy, $265 million to Mr. Rock Out with your Brock Out, looking Purdy awesome with Brock Purdy. Stu, give me the schedule this year for the Niners.
Okay.
And I will try to plow through this and tell you what I think they're going to do.
All right, week 1 at the Seahawks.
Did we do this earlier in the week when the schedule came out with the Niners? I think we did it with you, right? I don't think I did it, right? No? Samter says no? No, okay.
I don't think we did the Niners.
I'm going to say win up against the Seahawks.
Okay, at the Saints.
Win.
Home against the Cardinals.
Win.
Home against the Jaguars.
Win.
At the Rams.
Loss.
Okay, at the Bucks.
Loss.
Home against the Falcons.
Win.
At the Texans.
Loss.
At the Giants.
Win.
Okay, home against the Rams.
Win.
At the Cardinals.
They'll lose 1 to the Cardinals, so loss.
Okay, home against the Panthers.
Win.
At the Browns.
Win.
Home against the Titans.
Win.
That's okay. At the Colts.
Win.
Home against the Bears.
Loss.
Home against the Seahawks to end the season.
Win. That's 12?
12 wins. Wow.
Yeah. We talked about Schefter. That's what it was. And Shefty said, yeah, they have the easiest schedule. That's what it was. They have the easiest schedule in the NFL. But they lost a lot, and Shefty was out on them because of the players that they lost. Schedule is... And I started to get, I was counting. I was like, ooh, I'm starting to give them too many wins. I'm like, let me give a loss here or there. They could be... What's their... Do we know what their over-under is? That's what I would love to know. Because if that number... I think it's 9.5. I think it's 9.5. If that's the case...
I have 10.5 here.
You have 10.5. Oh, you're right. We did talk about that. I think you got to bet the over on that, if I'm being honest. I think my opinion may have changed from yesterday to today. At least when I initially thought about it. I don't know if I said that on the air, but I would take the over on that. That's as long as they're healthy. Big if. Easy peasy schedule. Even though Brock Purdy, I don't think he should be getting $53 million a year. But as you learn in the NFL, it's not about how much you should be making. It's what you actually are making. Because a lot of times, you don't have to be great to get great money. Stu, thank you. Sam, thank you. Ack, thank you. Scott Hastings, thank you. But most importantly, big thanks to each and every one of you. Knicks tonight up against the Celtics. Sunday, you got a game set. We'll talk all about it on Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific time. Yeah, bye-bye. Peace.